Yeah. Come on. Almost there.
Admit defeat, rookie. Give it to me.
What? How do you think about it? You don't know what you're doing. No. Give it back.
How dare you look down on me! Give it to me!
Looks like it's my turn.
Hello and welcome back to the Delta Force Community Tour Tournament here for Europe.
It's the tour.
So we are going to be, yeah, absolutely. Sure, why not? Let's go for that. We are going to be heading into Warfare today. We've concluded the operations section of the tournament, and we will, of course, be taken to the largest squad size, those 24v24 matches. I think we might have a few more actually this time around. But either way, we're going to get stuck in very, very soon. My name is John Allen. With me is Blank. We're going to be taking you through all the action.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I mean, we actually were able to watch a lot of Warfare, well, at least 2 matches of it the other day, and it was interesting to say the least. With Trench Lines being the only map we play, we will have Shafted as well today alongside with Trench Lines, and be shifting between those 2 maps throughout the day. We won't have 2 maps, we will have 4, and here's our prize pool of how that'll all break down and who'll be leaving the most amount of cash. Well, that'll be decided later, but it is $3,500 for first place, and it's all about earning those points as these games go on.
And as you can see there, in each group, there are 7 teams coming on in for either side. The 6 teams from Group A versus B and the 6 top teams from Group C versus D will be joined by 1 invited team per side, totaling up to 7 teams per side and 4 players per team. That $3,500 at the top spot is the grand prize for the team that can score the most during these matches.
Yeah, it's a hefty amount on the line here for Warfare, $12,000, but over a much higher amount of teams, obviously. But even getting 5th place, $1,100 to go home with to share with your team, that is a nice number here at our community tournament. I'm very excited to see how this all breaks down. We did have our semi-finals play out just a couple of days ago. That was very interesting. As you've already said before, there was a couple of interesting strats that came through with the very, very quick maneuver over towards Echo on that last point of Trench Line with a vehicle, dropping down the strategic beacon as well, and then just the floods of the attackers were in. So hopefully these teams will have done a little bit of recon themselves over towards the semi-finals and seeing how they can counter those strategies.
Yeah, absolutely. It's difficult because, of course, you want to be stuck in the thick of it, and as soon as you get that call to retreat, you still want to be picking up those points, but if you allow that opening, it can just be the doom of the game. Let's take a look at some of the groups that we saw over the course of the semi-finals. You can see these are the top 6 from each of those teams, I believe. Coming on through Group A, B, C, and D will be... oh no, hang on a minute. Was it? No. Okay, this is just all the teams that played in the semi-finals. This isn't the top teams just yet. We did trim down a couple of these teams. It was only 12 of these teams that made it through.
Hang on. Sorry? I'm pretty sure these are the 6 teams from each group, right? That we saw, because it's 24 teams per group that went through. So these are the top teams going through to the grand finals. They all did very, very well. Let's take a look at the highlights that went through from those semi-finals. I'm sure we'll see a lot of Mr. Bunny, who was able to rack himself up. I think it was 107 kills in that tank, getting himself a huge amount of points, up to 27,000.
Yeah, he could do a lot. Gives you points for getting those reses. Very important.
Yeah, the flash zone actually really useful here from Hacklaw as well, especially in the trench lines where you can just send it through pretty open ground, and one assaulting Bravo 1 and one assaulting Bravo 2 at the same time, and that kind of coordination is difficult over 24 players. That is a lovely spray down from the hip there coming through.
Nice one. Looking for more as well. That tactical hold.
I think both sectors being fairly well controlled, and I mean Group B definitely taking advantage of Toxic here a lot. She's especially strong with the Swarm here in the trenches, where they can get a huge amount of work done.
Left, and that is dropping still. You can't afford to be going for this revives, but can Bravo 2 get under control in time? The attackers may have just about been able to do it here, Blank.
Amruz as well with a massive magnetic bomb, and Group B desperately holding on, but for Group A with 3 and 4 reinforcements left, it is defeat. They attempt to take Bravo 2. Frustrating how this happens every single time, but In comes a little bit of an assist here with 4 players. It's just a couple, but that should be enough. And with Bravo 2 being now secured, just be it, John.
The backfall didn't have enough momentum. And look at this drop down coming on through. Goodness me, okay.
Yeah, again, I think the main thing right now... Mary Chain is literally off the chain this match. Insane play so far.
Just the continuous shelling from this tank coming on through makes it so hard to hold on the inside. Those corners just get spotted, pinged, and found with those tank shells. Powerful stuff coming on through. And Mr. Bunny giving a masterclass. Look at the spray downs coming on through as well. Goodness me.
Yeah, in terms of close range combat as well, recon arrow through, very, very important. The flicks, though.
As they start to capture over towards the artillery position.
They got a lot of players on it, but there's another backfill coming through onto Delta 1 once again. The defenders are not giving up easily here. Not a huge amount of time left, but again, Mr. Bunny being critical in that role of holding them back. Delta 2 almost on the side of the attackers. Can the defenders get to Delta 1 in time? And they cannot. Have a situation where it's quite a long run-up over towards E.
Trying to go very fast here. This is a squad roll-up coming on through. They're getting that strategic beacon down.
Actually, this is a good play.
This is so fast. Teams might not be ready for it, and they're already into the server room, Blank.
That is a really good beacon.
Seems like Echo now under control. The outside courtyard is under control. No defense stronghold, and Echo halfway captured now. The guided missile to seal the deal.
Yeah, guided missile on the point, and that might just be it with Group D. A very, very strong performance from them here on this map, and I believe that might just be game over.
Rapid result at the end of that second match of Trenches we saw. Here are the standings from the semi-finals. These are the teams from groups A and B, and of course it's the top 6 of those teams that will be moving forwards. Full Safe, Polska, Gurom, Sons of War, SPEKTR, VALKIRIA, and Ratz will be joining us today from these 2 groups.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we're going to have 2 from Group A there, and then moving over towards the other side as well. You should be able to catch that one, but it's 4 teams from Group D at the top side of things, but we will still have players from Group C onwards will be joining us as well. So really, really good stuff, honestly, for our semi-finals overall. Meet your memers with 230k. Obviously, we did see the Group D and Group C went way further than we expected it to after watching a full stall out over on Bravo 1 and Bravo 2 for Group A and B.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. It went all the way, all the distance, and of course that generally means you're going to be getting more points on the board. This is warfare. This is a large-scale team versus team game mode. You get points by completing various different tasks, not least of which is getting kills. Right, that is a big way to earn a lot of points. There's a lot of assist points coming on through as well. You can pick up teammates. You can track other players with your utility. There's lots of different ways that you can earn those points, but the longer the game goes on, the more opportunities you're going to have to do that. So we'll have to wait and see what is going to be happening there today, what teams are going to be investing in terms of that point scoring capability. Group A and Group B, this is today's sets of teams, and I'm looking right at the bottom of Group B, Blank, and I'm seeing a little bit of a confusing double team of teams there. A lot of Rats joining us here. Les Rats and Los Ratas.
Yeah, I like that. Fair play to him, you know, he bringing in some support from Group E. I think that's the team we didn't, the group that we didn't get to watch too much of, which is very cool. Let's take a look at our participating players from these groups. Full Safe with Landgrab, Canyon, Craze, and Cupid, who definitely were one of the most significant teams that we saw. Craze with some of the highest rescues that we saw out of all of the matches.
Definitely able to keep things up, keep them healthy as well. We're hoping that Group A will be able to find their feet here. Also, the team newly joining us, HRTMT, there in the bottom corner. And as we head over to Group B, the team that will be facing off against them, of course, eyes will be on Mr. Bunny for 7th Liver. We saw a lot of investment into getting into that tank, getting a control over those trench positions. I think that's going to be a little bit harder on Shafted, a lot more internal of a scenario. You can't get those vehicles into position in the same way, so we'll see how they adapt to that. Los Ratas, the Spanish variant of Les Ratz, will be joining us as well as the invited team.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Shafted will play out because there is a horrible choke down towards the third point, I believe, where you're down in the tunnels. Really difficult to get through in towards that server room. I'm curious to see how the teams will work that one through, because what we saw before was that a lot of the maneuvers, a lot of the plays that came through were all or nothing on a singular point of focus. Let's take a look at our schedule for today and which maps we will be playing. We already mentioned it before, but it will be Trench Lines and Shafted. So we'll have 4 matches going back to back.
And I believe that it will be the team that is on the left on the list attacking each of these times, if I'm not mistaken. So Group A will start off on attack, which does mean that Group A is always attacking on Trench Lines and Group B is always attacking on Shafted. So that would be an interesting dynamic.
It is, yeah. I mean, we will see if that's the case. But in the meantime, we will just have to sit tight. We do have an interview for you here with some of the teams participating, so check it out.
It's Logistic Gamer here, and my team name is 7th Liva. I'm 25 years old right now, and this is my first tournament in any game. We are 4 people in the team. We never lose motivation. We always help each other, no matter what. Our crazy guy is Bunny, as you may aware of it. He played with a tank, and he played like 100-0. So our team dynamics is great, and I hope we will surprise you tonight again.
Defenders are not giving up easily here. Not a huge amount of time left, but again, Mr. Bunny being critical in that role of holding them back.
My name is Attach and I play for Les Ratz. We are pretty aggressive and not the same game style. I'm a big rusher, Ragnar too, but the other are backline, you know, they will revive you and they will do their best to ping enemy. Yes, we are a rusher, but if we play as 4, we can do some damage.
Just be it, John. The backfall didn't have enough momentum. And look at this drop down coming on through. Goodness me, okay.
So my nickname is Sushi, and I'm in the team SPEKTR. So I think the team dynamics is like we're having a good time. We all enjoy the game, and so we want to improve and do better for tournament and or events like this.
And it gives you points for getting those reses. Very important.
Yeah, the flash on actually really useful here from Hackor as well, especially in the trench lines where you can just send it through.
Hello everyone, my name is Peter, I'm from team Pakamaka, my nickname is Maku TTV. Our team was formed out of shared passion for gaming and common goal and competing at the higher level. Our team dynamic is very collaborative and supportive. We will have a strength and weakness. It's important to not give up.
Just the continuous shelling from this tank coming on through makes it so hard to hold on the inside, those corners, gym shells. Powerful stuff coming on through, and Mr. Bunny giving a masterclass. Look at the spray down.
Well, my name is Vitaly and my nickname is Walker. Our team name is called Pepegas, and we decided to choose this name because we like the Pepe Frog. It's kinda, you know, funny vibe, funny froggy, that's why we chose this name. Every teammate has something to give. So there is not a single person who is like more important than the others. We are just team and that's all. The more I play, the more I understand this game, and I like to play this game aggressive, because the more aggressive you play, the more rewarded you're gonna get in the end of the game.
Assaulting Bravo 1 and one assaulting Bravo 2 at the same time, and that kind of coordination is difficult if they're coming through.
Nice one. Looking for more as well.
Here in the trenches, where they can get a huge amount of work done.
Hello everyone, I'm Sergio. I'm Greg Wargo from the team Sons of War. Well, our team dynamics, I will say, is kind of a symbiosis. Rustic and Neo are usually trying to go for kills. They try to be aggressive and get kills. Edwin's usually trying to get objectives into the games, and I'm usually trying to a bit in between. Sometimes pushing, sometimes reviving and healing teammates so they can push to the objective advance. So that's kind of a symbiosis, I would say.
Yeah, again, I think the main thing right now, I mean, Mary Chain is literally off the chain this match. Insane play so far.
I meet 2 new friends and win this tournament. It's win cash prize because we all do this for the cash prize too. It's the first ambition, and yeah, it's overall experience.
Well, we will be absolutely euphoric of winning. We are actually already euphoric to be here. And for some of us, winning this tournament and for the group as a whole will be the realization of some achievements we have had for a long time.
I think it will give us some drive to grind even more.
I want to thank you for our fans and support us in this tournament. Good luck for all teams, and we see in Grand Final.
I am into more than ever in any game, so I'm looking forward to seeing more and more in the new season. Just wait for tonight. Bunny will make a great show with a tank, so you will be enjoying tonight.
So I heard there is another French team in the tournament who were trying to beat us. So we're gonna show them who the French boss are.
SPEKTR, we are both together French, and you know we're coming in Grandfinals together. Now show who is better, you know.
Not only do we have teams fighting Group A and Group B, we've got a little bit of a homeland derby as well between some of the French players as well. I'm loving to see it. That's what the community tournament is all about, and we're happy to have everyone participating. We'll see who is just going to reign atop the rest over the course of the next 4 matches, over the course of the next few hours, and we hope that you will stick around for that as well, because from the words that they were saying, they were dishing out a lot of confidence. I feel like that was the main takeaway from those.
Yeah, there's some fighting talk, absolutely, especially from Sushi there, saying that they're going to be crowning themselves the French boss of the lobby. It was nice. We actually got to speak with Sushi a couple of days ago. Very nice guy, very humble guy, and just enjoys the game. But now he's got some skin in the game, it would seem. But the game is now ready, and we'll be heading into trench lines right now. See if Bunny can get himself in the tank to start things off.
I mean, there's already a tank involved there on the back lines. We'll see what the approach is going to be. I believe this is Group A on the attack here. At the moment, they haven't managed to make a breach on. We saw a lot of focus on opening up these flanks for the attackers in the previous days' games, trying to get around that side, overwhelmed from multiple angles. But it seems like brute force, forward surge might be the way for Group A to try and make their way in at the start.
RMX Mary Chain, who was unbelievable in their set, and on the sidelines, I think they most likely did go down though. They were facing 6 members up in the front, but yeah, point A, always a very interesting one. Very hectic, but already the attackers are getting into the point, squeezing themselves into an awkward alley, but what a shot from Zerf.
Brilliant spray downs there. They put themselves into that corner behind that watchtower. The smoke cover gave them sightline crossover, but they were just falling prey repeatedly. But you're right, those reses coming on through, that may have been a beacon that got set down there during that fight. It's so valuable to be able to have those forward respawn positions, be able to get onto the point, and that might allow the attackers to keep this push going.
Yeah, extremely important to make happen. Boys are setting themselves up on the side. Stinger, obviously very important to have. Just had a kisser on the tank at the moment. And good shots, getting some hits through, at least getting those assists on board. And shots off into the distance. Feels like it might be time to abandon the tank and help with the forward push, which is not going all that hot as the defending team starts to push back out again. And Group B is once again regaining control over Sector A.
Seems like it. They have managed to regain that foothold. Hopefully they can take down those respawn beacons and push them back to the base spawn line. The idea for the defenders here is to run down the reinforcements of the attack, as you can see at the top of your screen. That 349 and ticking down repeatedly. That is the number of times that the attackers can respawn. You need to burn that down to 0 as the defense in order to win.
It's very much back and forth with a spawn beacon off towards the side. You can see off in the distance there. Sasish, the rest of his squad, all playing from those sidelines. Line grab moving up. This was full safe. One of our prominent teams that we were excited to watch again. Once again on attack, trying to get their way through. Good spray downs from the hip. We know the line grab particularly enjoys that type of play.
Yeah, able to move around that tactical hold, working out well. And now the flank has opened up a little bit. The attackers are here. The loudest vehicle in the world has joined the battle. It's going to be straight on into the middle. I have no idea what's going on, but it seems like they don't either. That's a roll around the sidelines here for the attackers, getting into a little bit more of an entrenched position. 2 players go down as it goes up in smoke, and that's a falter on the rundown.
I'm almost glad it was destroyed, and we're not back on board with that. That was fairly intense, to say the least, but that's what Warfare is all about, intense gameplay all day long.
Neotrix going down, getting stunned out in the middle of it. Needs to get back to his feet, try and maintain, but so far for the defense, it's going well. We're seeing a lot of vehicles being invested in now in order to try and gain those flank controls, get a little bit of speed, momentum as you move on forwards. You move this vehicle into position, it draws the attention of that central hold onto Alpha and maybe allows Group A to storm in on the corner they've been trying to assault for a while now. But perhaps they haven't been able to draw enough away because they are just falling flat on their faces as soon as they try and get in there.
A lot of smoke sent down on the left side again. Mr. Bunny there with the Bison, still just playing on foot, not inside a tank this time around, unfortunately for him. Yeah, good smokes on that sideline, especially in the vehicle as well. Getting a smoke deployment out on that vehicle was able to angle it in towards the objective, which, unless they were able to get a player in there, would have been unable to do so. So nice use of the four-wheeler.
And there it is. The push on in. Enough suppression was found. The vehicle flanks were there. The defenders extract quite a bit of value, but it looks like it may just be taken over by the attackers. But hang on a minute. There is a little bit of a resurgence into the point. I think this should be shut down. They managed to move a vehicle on into the way. You can see just that sliver of capture progress left, but they are making their way forwards, and Sushi actually doing a lot. Unfortunately, not quite enough. So up to 361 they go. They get that little refresh, that little bump in terms of reinforcements on the attack, and we're into the trench phases now.
And this is always the awkward part of the map here, but there was a significant investment early on there towards retaking A, which might give a possibility here for the attackers a quick and swift approach over towards B1.
For the attackers, getting rescues is very, very important. If you're able to pick your teammate up, it won't count towards your reinforcement total. So if you're able to get those revives, it helps out the entirety of your team. It gives you a much better chance. It extends the time in which you can play around with this one. Now, the assaults begin over towards Bravo 1 and Bravo 2. Generally, the dynamic that we see between these 2 points is they get captured and then recaptured, backfilled. A little bit of a ring around the rosies, a do-si-do between those 2 teams. There's a lovely hop into the smoke of the spray down on the drop shot. You love to see it.
I am curious.
Into the thick of it in the trenches.
I'm curious because you almost want these games to go as long as possible to gain as many points as you can. So we'll see if there is any tactical giving up of points as we push on through. Because when they were playing within their own groups, it didn't really matter how long their games went on, because depending on how well you did, you were almost certainly always going to make it into the grand finals. But now you're playing across groups, so there might be some tactics been thrown in here and there. We'll wait and see. I don't want to call sandbagging just yet.
No, certainly not. You can see at the moment the attackers are just setting up. They've moved in on that south side, trying to get the flank in towards Bravo 1. Bravo 2 is in threat as well. So a lot of respawn beacons, I imagine, are going to get blocked down now so that they can get those backfill respawns. And if they can split their attack and go at the same time, this could be pretty big for the attackers to move fast, to move efficiently against this one. But it seems like it's faltering a couple of times too many to be able to go for this fully. But Bravo 1 is falling.
Yeah, Bravo 1, not a huge deal, I would say, for the defenders. They're able to get that one back up fairly quickly, but this is a fairly clean sweep. Bravo 2 also being capped at the same time. It does feel like the defenders are somewhat disjointed right now.
Bravo 1 is being captured back, and immediately the entirety of that assault has been dispatched. It looked a little bit hairy for them, but the defense does mount up yet again to try and hold on to this one. So Bravo 1 just about under control, but Bravo 2 firmly for the defense right now. It looks like that control over Bravo 1 is waning as well. You can see that goes back into defensive control.
Yeah, Bravo 1 being reclaimed. This might be one of the quickest B1 and B2 takes that we've seen so far here on the trench lines. Yeah, very good job. In goes Neotrix, getting a bit more damage done over towards the bunker. But tons of utility being thrown into the mix here.
Defense inside that bunker going low on their health there, but they have managed to do their job. They should be able to find these reses. Everybody fighting for it. Remember, of course, you get value out of getting reses onto any of your team, which means that you are needing to fight for those. If you're one of those medic classes, if you're playing Stinger, if you're playing Toxic, you will want to just grab as many people off the floor as you can. It's a huge way to earn value.
Even just capturing these objectives as well, so it's quite nice that you're able to flick between Bravo 1 and Bravo 2. Obviously, it does get a little bit hairy once one of those objectives goes down, but we saw before SPEKTR was one of the most significant teams when it came to backfilling on towards objectives. Here's another attack over towards Bravo 2, a very firm one at least, and that will be Bravo 2 being secured. And look at this position up on high, just getting the spray down, just hoping those bullets hit, and often they do.
Exposed to that drop-down hatch there on his top left flank, but it seems like the rest of the teams are going to have their back. On the supply crate as well, you're never going to run out of ammo. And has a little bit of cover there as well. Should be able to counter-peek, counter-spray. And in they go. They're dropping down from it. Needs to have the weapon out, but caught unawares, and the shimmy, shimmy, shake brushes off the bullets. Dashing them in the mud. And the trench now potentially getting reclaimed here. Bravo 1 in danger, but Bravo 2 getting resurged on by the defense.
Painful position there to be in. He does get picked back up again and is doing a great job as Moliki Pro. Overall, a lot of damage done, B1 being taken, and the attackers are doing a fantastic job, but great retake once again from the defenders onto Bravo 2. As the attackers just attempt to hold on to B1 at the moment, but the tank from off in the distance is making things hard.
Yeah, that open top to a lot of Bravo 1 makes it very suppressible. With that tank position, you just keep shelling, those explosions keep blasting away at health bars. Little trade between the two of them. Bravo 1 still firmly for the attack. Need to backfill here because Bravo 2 is falling quickly. Look at this attack coming on through from Group A. Able to sweep a lot of Bravo 2 away. And Bravo 1 not getting filled in just yet. They need to be faster here. An approach from that western side. And it is just not quite in time. Bravo 2 in danger. And this might be the attack moving into the next stage.
Potentially here. Preep Walker doing a good job, or as best he can there, to keep them out. Yeah, the resurgence time and time again from the defenders is really big. Just a question of how well these few players inside from the attacker side can hold on, but they've almost got it. And they just let it go under their noses. The attackers will be able to move on towards C1.
There was no momentum for the defense to go for that backfill, to go for that pressure back on towards Bravo 1. So now they'll be moving into the Charlie area. See, they haven't got too much time to exfiltrate here. Need to try and regroup as well. You do not have too long to get away from this zone now if you're in the defense. Mount up what you can. Playing around the burnt out tank there. Maybe just trying to pick up some points where they can as they fade away. Trying to use the covering fire from their backlines as well. Into the valley, the bullets will fly overhead from those backlines that are starting to respawn now for the defense.
Yeah, pretty nicely choked to be in here as they attempt to push over the top. Some great shots coming through from the defending team. Like I say, playing around this destroyed tank through the smoke. Lovely couple of shots there. Going through, tearing the attackers to pieces.
Ooh, spray down. So they're getting a lot of value for this very forward exposed position. Really nice holding point. Charlie actually almost under threat. And hang on a minute, that's the attack. They moved quickly, and those vehicles just doing so much work for them. I didn't even see them break the line there. That forward hold, sure, it's going to work for a couple of points, but you're going to lose the point in the backlines. You can see the defense is now responding. But it might just be. I think you're right.
Right, well, you got greedy for some points. That's all I'm going to say. You got greedy for some points. We've seen those vehicle plays coming through multiple times, and they were already on the objective. And now we're heading straight over towards D1 and D2. Charlie falling in record time here.
Goodness me, and now the reinforcements up to 370 yet again. 14 seconds to regroup. Will they get greedy again? A lot of the defense is trapped behind the attack still, have not gone down. So if you just keep them suppressed, if you force them into these slow engagements, maybe it'll be a faster way to rack up these points. We'll see if the fast approach towards the Delta objectives is going to be the same story here. You've got Delta 1 a lot further forwards, Delta 2 sitting right towards the back. So a much more linear approach to this next phase.
Yeah, this is going to have to be a chunky haul from the defenders. Not always easy to spread that attention between D1 and D2 once D1 is lost. But this is possibly the biggest opportunity if you get a lot of kills on board, a lot of points, because 367 reinforcements is not a small amount here coming through from the attackers. They have a lot of reinforcements to work with.
It's true, but the defense are lighting up the kill feed right now. Goodness me. Pretty brutal. They're looking for the reses as well. The backfill. There's those vehicles. Again, they're moving fast. There's only one player in response to this attack on the backlines. The smoke trains are there. You need to send some more players down. The strategic beacon is deployed. I think that will be from the attackers over towards Delta 2. A lot of fast movement being enacted here, and people are read into what happened yesterday, or sorry, 2 days ago, and they're making it work. Delta 2 has no contest.
Yeah, I enjoy the fact that it's like, it's not only useful for Echo, we can do it everywhere. The strategic beacons, not only are they being laid down and allowing the rest of the team to get themselves heaped onto that point, but you also get points for people spawning on top of them. So teams are getting a lot of value off the back of that just by being the first to face and investing those points wisely where teams do want to spawn on those positions. And with that, Delta 2 is taken.
Spray downs from the Papa. Doing bits here. Trying to hold on towards Delta 2 now. The attack has control of it, but there is a little defensive resurgence here. You can see they are putting pressure in. A couple of players moving back to try and deal with it, but the majority of the attack is actually focused on Delta 1. However, they aren't finding the foothold that they need. Having Delta 2 available as a spawn point gives them a flank to play against that Delta 1 position, but in the same vein, those back spawn points for the defense will put pressure onto that side of Delta 2.
Yeah, the big thing here is the fact that you have that pincer available, but if the attackers aren't able to claim over towards D1 and create that forward foothold, and the defense are able to reclaim over towards Delta 2, haven't really been able to gain too much off the back of this. You can see now, though, a lot of the defenders have pulled back over towards Delta 2, opening up Delta 1 finally for the attackers to get in.
Delta 1 now looking to keep this pressure going. A lot more in their favor, suppressing that ridgeline. The the SMG 45s, the spray downs coming through, looking pretty strong. The LMGs as well from the engineer classes. Delta 1 does fall. They drew enough away to deal with Delta 2 in the meantime to allow them to get that foothold. And now you're once again into this more linear situation where the attackers are just going to have to push over these ridge lines. Expect to see a vehicle or two rolling around the back lines when they start to mount up.
You just really want to take control of this now and then start to set up strongly. This is a nice move from the defenders. They get themselves onto this side wall and to provide a lot of pressure, but they are lining up somewhat. Some shots around the side. Despite all that, though, it's not going horribly, and they're buying a lot of time for the rest of Group B.
Trying to push forwards into the dead zone there. Utilizing those 10 seconds effectively, getting some cheeky peeks going on in. Artillery barrage does come on through. And that forward hold just continuing to work out well for Sushi. Gaining a lot of value. Delta 2 still in control of defense, and Delta 1 seemingly the same story as a little bit of a regroup comes on through. They didn't manage to get that foothold for Group A. They didn't manage to keep hold of Delta 1. They didn't completely cover off their flanks, and they have now been pushed back.
Tiger Balsam doing some good work over on the side of the attackers. It is slowly going in the favor of the attackers there on D1, but they've mounted a pretty decent defense, and we've chunked down those reinforcements around about 150. So again, we said this needed to be a firm hold coming through from the defenders, and it certainly has been so far.
The attackers have reclaimed Delta 1. A lot of investment over to the top of the hill there for the defense as well. Looking to try and catch players as they move on forwards towards the second objective. Try and cut them off. Remove that supply chain. That is what they're looking to do. Isolate a group of players. Corral them into a kill zone. Force them to take undue damage. I think that might be Mr. Bunny back in his signature tank.
Took it a while for him to find one. Finally, he's back in position. I think that is his signature skin as well, so can be pretty certain. Already getting 2 kills off the back of it. Make that 3 over towards land grab. And this is where he made his hold yesterday. Over towards Delta 1.
So much work. You just have to be careful of any anti-tank weaponry. That is the major threat to playing a position like that. As soon as a rocket is sent your way, you need to regroup, you need to retreat, and you need to play a little bit cautiously. You can feel invulnerable in the tank. It's very easy to. But as soon as you're cut off from your own lines, you're a sitting duck out in the open.
Goodness me.
What's
Land
going
grab
on?
doing everything he can. Stay alive there. I mean, Full Safe have done a fantastic job keeping position. Magnetic bomb thrown out. P7X7 in no man's land right now in the vehicle. Will return to the rest of the squad as quickly as possible. Yeah, this has been pretty damn good from the defenders, honestly.
Finding their strength a little bit, but in the meantime, there is a little answer of an assault over towards Delta 2. Delta 1, if the attackers can hold it, Delta 2's falling, and it is now under control of the attackers, and Delta 1 nowhere near to getting taken over. This could also be that opening that they're looking for. The defense may have allowed a little bit too much of a rotation around the back lines there. The reses can start to come through, but there's the resurgence from the defense. They want to hold on to Delta 2. You can see that push back into the corner, controlling those containers, and they have managed to assuage the threat over on Delta 2.
Yeah, Mr. Bunny attempting to find some decent shots through here. Again, just causing problems in the tank. Land grab moves up. Good shot. Drop shot from the air, but we'll find and another despite the HP being at an absolute minimum. And he's on a rampage.
The guy is insane. He's unstoppable, but runs into a wall of bullets and won't be able to dodge around it. Delta 2 goes over to the defense yet again, and Delta 1 seemingly pretty close to having the same fate.
Yeah, 105 reinforcements remaining. Just 25%, and they are falling at a fast rate here as the defenders starting to push them out a little bit more.
Both objectives. Control of the defense, but the attack, again, just opening up the cannons. They open up the throttle, turn around, play the back of this site over towards Delta 2. Making headway now. Delta 1 still just about in control of the attackers as well. So with 82 reinforcements left, they might have just been able to find that opening, allow them to move in, feel safe on the defense, and all of a sudden, turn around and wham, slam straight into Delta 2 yet again.
This is rough stuff for both teams. 78 remaining, and at the moment, good reinfiltration over towards Delta 2. But that has given a lot more ground over towards the attackers here, because there was a firm approach from the defenders on that north side towards the hilltops, watching over towards Delta 1, but there's been a full regroup over towards Delta 2 now for the defenders, feeling more and more likely like Delta 1 is fully lost at this point.
Not going to have too many beacons now left towards the back lines. The attack can focus fully on finding those openings towards Delta 2. Be careful of those refills, but there comes the guided missile with 60 reinforcements left. You look at her try and take it down. Let's see where he drops this one. The guided missile could be crucial, but there's the backfill from that hilltop over towards Delta 1. Always the potential. Impact over towards Delta 2. They're not really finding too much. Delta 1 now under threat from the defense.
That's a really smart maneuver from the defenders. They give up Delta 2 where the guided missile is coming down. They know that the attackers are going to go for their full-on approach. They're only on 38 reinforcements. So being able to wrap back round towards Delta 1, what a maneuver from them. And it still is going to take a little while before Delta 2 is reclaimed by the attackers.
Hang on a minute. Is that a second guided missile? I think it might be. In it goes, and that was from Sushi. Able to clear a lot on the defense. But the attackers have got Delta 2 now. They've only got 20 reinforcements, however, and they need more time. They need more pressure to get back over towards Delta 1 after this capture comes in.
It was a good counter onto Delta 2 from Sushi with a guided missile in that moment. Whoever was able to make that call back over towards Delta 1, very, very smart.
10 reinforcements left. More guided missiles coming on in. Looking for impact. And we'll see what value they get. That was a defensive missile that took out a whole load of players. What a way to close it down. The reinforcements are depleted, and it is a full defense there in the Delta zone.
Oh, you got to watch... I think it's over. I believe it's over. Pretty sure it's over. But yeah, Voznozy, I'm going to butcher your name again. I'm so sorry. But you made an incredible play with that guided missile. I think that took out the entirety of the reinforcements there. It got to the point where I think that the defenders realized that, look, we're at that point in the game, we're at that stage of the game where it's all or nothing. Let's just invest our guided missiles now. But yeah, that play to move back towards Delta 1 as they made their final approach towards Delta 2, just, wow, chef's kiss.
Perfect timing as well. With that guided missile, they knew that they were under threat, in danger. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. The attackers couldn't get that quick raz over to Echo this time around. We are going to go to a short break, and when we come back, we'll be over to Shafted. See you in a minute.
Yesterday at 1500 hours, a convoy was attacked passing through Asara's eastern transport hub. Survivors confirmed the attack was perpetrated by the Asara Guard. This is the third attack this month. Residents and merchants in the area were already panicking. Hamka, one of the leaders of the Asara Guard, is our prime suspect. He operates east of Zaltiva and has been extremely active lately. We have reason to believe that he is trading stolen supplies with an unknown party in exchange for arms. You need to find out what he's planning. At dawn, recon drones sighted Hamka in a fishing village near Zaltiva. Get there, find and neutralize Hamka ASAP. The village is unusually quiet today. Watch out. Don't fall prey to an ambush.
Take out the intruder! Chivalry Gurom! What the? Target down! Go for it!
Beware of hostile suicide vehicles.
For Hamka! Fire out! Take them out! Something's wrong there!
This bridge is vital for transit. If the bridge is blown, we'll lose our reinforcements. Disarm those bombs, now!
Stop them! Go! Full throttle!
All bombs are disarmed. Good job.
Fire! Pull them back!
A Havoc heli? What's it doing in Asara Guard territory?
Our vehicle needs to be fixed! Loser, over here! RPG! Take them! Taking damage! Fire! Fire! Grab them! Now!
Admit defeat, rookie. Give it to me.
What? How do you think about it? You don't know what you're doing. Give it back.
There, double down on you. Give it to me.
Looks like it's my turn.
Come on. Almost there.
Admit defeat, rookie. Give it to me.
What? Don't even think about it. You don't know what you're doing. No. Give it back.
How dare you look down on me! Give it to me!
Looks like it's my turn.
And welcome back to the community tournament for Europe here on Delta Force. We are going to be waging more warfare over into Shafted next up, as it will be the turn of Group B to try and assault onto this one. They will take the turn of the attackers here. So after a victory on the defense, will they be able to repeat that performance over in the shafts as we roll straight on into it? Let's take a look at some of the stats from that last game that we saw. Of course, a lot of points earned, and highest scoring point, Polska Gurom will be able to earn quite a lot there. I think a lot of those kills came from that final guided missile from a name that you tried, and I dare not in the top line there. 18,000 points.
Yeah, massive amount of points gathered from that guided missile, which was huge. Surf, though, still doing good work. I think we saw him on the front lines over towards Sector A, actually doing some really good work in terms of just reses, which you saw there with the total 18,000 points there for Vozvenozy. That's how I'm going to go for it this time around. I'm trying all sorts of variations. Please forgive. Fat Bouch down towards 16,000 when Turbo supercharged with 16,000, not far behind from Meet Your Memers.
Yeah, a lot of defenders in the top set of this page. 6 out of the 10 on the front page on the defense, and the top 5 all on the defense. There's Sushi, of course, getting 16.2k, and they will be able to keep up the pace there. No Mr. Bunny on this front page, and that's unfortunate. We was hoping for a little bit more presence there in the tank. This is the highest kill count, and of course, it's Sushi at the top. Why not? Chefing them up, serving them up with a cold plate of vengeance there. 46 kills for Sushi.
Yeah, serving up raw, you could say, towards the enemy team. 46 kills total, I think, for Sushi, laying down the line there, especially in terms of that French dominance from their side of things. Best assist going through from Molky. We saw him absolutely in the trenches, set himself up for 123 assists, which is a fantastic amount, despite the fact that this guy was basically on the ground the entire time. So he was having a fair share in a lot of these engagements. Mapapa not far behind in second place, who we did see the other day get a lot of good work in alongside with Mary Chain and Logistic Gamer. I'm
interested that Mary Chain was on the most assists there as well. Not quite as brutal maybe as they were previously. This is the rescues, picking people back up, getting them back into the fight versus topping the tables there with 32 reses coming on in, pulling team back to their feet. And in general, you do expect to see attackers more prevalent on this table just because it's so much more important to get people back up on the attack because of that resource drain that happens if you don't.
Good to see that Crazy was still in second place, though. 26 reses total, not quite to the astonishing marvel of Versus at 32, but he's reaching his average, which is good to see regardless. Let's take a look at the standings, at how these teams have set themselves up for success after that first map, and it will be Polska Gurom with 67,000, met closely behind by Meet Your Memers, 63k.
A nice total across the board. And at the moment, this is all of our 14 teams, right? We have 2 sides of 7 in groups A and B. In general, it's definitely possible for anybody to push back on in. That is only the first match that we'll see, and you're expecting to see a sort of similar amount of points. Although we have seen upwards of 100k in a single match, I think, coming on through for some of these teams. So definitely possible to turn things around. But Polska Gurom are ahead for the time being. Group B leading the charge, certainly with the top 2 and a lot of that front page on lock.
Yeah, it's good to see, honestly, and I think Polska Gurom definitely deserved it. They had some very, very strong maneuvers during that game, and overall, like, they were just racking up the points. We do have our second game ready, though. Let's jump right into it here on Shafted to get things started off out by the railway lines.
This first point can be nasty to try and push your way on through, but if you can open up one of the flanks on the open ground to approach, go into those tunnels, try and claim some ground there, can be a little bit easier. So the attack currently moving along the train yard, trying to cover off this top side flank to get both angles of the warehouse under control, but it is so much easier said than done. However, there is a volley of fire and a massive surge around the edge there. Depending on what Ragnar can do on this front line, they have managed to secure a lot of that ground. I thought it wasn't going to go their way, but they are going to start to pick up their players, start to pull them back to their feet, and get a great sightline over towards this warehouse.
Yeah, the big deal here is the fact that they're able to get around the side of the aviation bay, right? Because usually that is the worst part of this initial starting zone, is trying to get rid of the defenders off of that frontline point on the top side of the map where the team is currently running over towards now. If teams get control of that, it's very easy for them to get these sight lines looking down along the railway tracks. So defenders very determined to keep that place covered. They do reclaim a little bit of space there, and attackers are forced out.
Attackers push back just a little bit, but that has allowed a flank to come on through. You can see Mr. Bunny leading the charge for the squad, going into overload as well, trying to send straight on into the thick of it, getting into the fight, waiting for that scan to come on through so he can keep on running undetected, moving on in, and this is really fast from Sushi, stopping the kills from the last time around and wants to do the same here. 1 and 2 quickly done through and through. Looks for a third, caps it off, looks for another around the side, and they are completely unawares of this presence.
Yeah, I mean, Sushi on D-Wolf has been incredibly good so far, and he is just cleaning out players left, right, and center. Certainly the clutch member of the team, I would say, getting the rockets in as well. Yeah, you can be overclocked for a long, long time. Just getting kills and assists will increase the timer that you have available on it.
Ooh. That's a 5-second little buff, but there we go, into the next phases. So they've claimed that first zone, and they need to now go for that drop down. You need to enter those shafts, get down to the ground level. You see, there are far shafts that you potentially try not to go for, but the defense is already on the ground. And now into the tunnels, through those open rocket bays there as well. That's where they'll be looking to go. So a slower approach now as we descend into the shafts.
Yeah, Group B pretty dominant so far, you could say. Voz Vinozi gets himself killed by dropping a little bit too quickly. In they go. They are absolutely rinsing the defense right now. Group B certainly looking quite strong here, but this is where Viren definitely excels. Magnetic bomb in close range. Lovely.
Ooh. Nasty little pickup there. The defense does start to hold strong, but look at that charge straight on down under a little bit of cover, going on the low ground. A massive wraparound here. Insurgency dropping beacons, being able to respawn on these players is going to be massive. So both Bravo points now in danger here as they split side to side. Both of them looking to get that capture. They need to get up into the scaffolding for Bravo 1, but Bravo 2 on the floor, and immediately this is unmet with a match.
Yeah, for the attackers, they are just in, managing to pull from behind. I mean, there was a good amount of force in that front line as well, being able to take down quite a few players, but also just distracting them from this play. There goes down the respawn beacon to allow players to jump on top of it. So Mapapa once again in the thick of it pretty much, and that's where he likes to play.
Ooh, getting that spray down as well. Both points under contest, and this is exactly how you want to be going for it. Split the attention of the defense. Where do you go? You need to choose one and take that back so you can start that Ring of Wrangle Roses process, but they may have just been a little bit too slow on this. You can see the wraparound coming through. They're trying to push back into Bravo 2, but there's still a foothold here in the middle, as well as that exfiltration from Bravo 1 to try and catch some of the Bravo 2 players. The attack pushing into that top side of Bravo 2 now.
Yeah, it's a really good defensive line setup, albeit only for a couple of players. Didn't really matter because it slowed down the defenders enough that they could afford to play that position for a little bit longer and get their mitts over towards Bravo 2. Now they need to look to force over towards Bravo 1, but with that foothold, which is the difficult thing for the attacking team a lot of times here on this position of the map, should be a whole lot easier.
Now they'll start that rotation. Going between these two positions, but it needs to keep up the pace. Bravo 2 getting isolated here and taking control of the defenders, trying to mount an offensive here, but is it too little too late? They're trying to push in now, 1 squad, 2 squad, but they're being met at those openings. They need to find a little bit more if they want to take control.
Yeah, the forces move back over towards Bravo 1, but in the meantime, Bravo 2 is the one being assaulted. That was an incredibly quick flick on the slide as well from D-Wolf.
Mary Chain in the middle. Let's see what he can get done now. A vicious player. Certainly not someone you want to come into contest with in close range. That spray down is nasty. Getting caught on the sidelines here as well. Not ideal, but Bravo 2 definitely now getting pressure on from those attackers, but Bravo 1 in the meantime falling a little bit quicker.
It is reclaimed slightly, but again, it's just playing for time now on Bravo 1. I think the defenders are looking to push over towards it, but it's just stragglers, and this four-man team is really all it's taking to hold them out alongside with Versus. And it is Sushi actually holding down the line.
Time for the gavel!
And then Smokey the attacker's taken it. Bravo 2 not captured in response and pushed back. A resupply up to 400 reinforcements as well. This attack is going so well for Group B. They're earning a whole load of points for it as well. Now they'll try and move into Charlie sector.
And this is where it starts to get a little bit tough. The choke point is pretty tough. There is various angles of approach here. You don't have to just go through the tunnel here that you can see on your screen. I'm curious to see how Group B will tackle this.
Looks like they've already gained a lot of ground here. They moved very, very quickly down here, which is great in terms of gaining that progress. Normally that hold on that ramp takes quite a while to breach, but they've already managed to claim it. This is so fast, and we saw this onto the Bravo points as well. They're looking for those sideline angles. They're looking to try and move around the edges of this map and get into position to just fill in from the back. And it's working out well.
Massively. The fact that they're able to have like a coordinated approach, a coordinated push. I mean, someone's typing in all chat. That's all I'm saying.
They have managed to make it work pretty effectively here. All sides of Charlie now looking to be fairly surrounded. This sideline approach to it, moving in on the edge. The defense needs to hold strong on this angle, but it's just not happening. Mapapa lighting them up there with the spray around the side of the smoke. The UAVs, they're embedded, but he doesn't care. He's just jumping around these corners, going for the spray transfer. Not quite able to get it. That should be resible though, and Charlie may soon fall.
Watching Mapapa play is actually hilarious to me a lot of times, just purely because he's one of the nastiest players when it comes to flicks in the lobby, but he primarily just uses hipfire. So although slightly unimpressive because it's hipfire, you can still tell just how good of a player he is with the speed at which he is reorientating himself onto targets. But yeah, for the attackers, this has gone phenomenally well for them. They're already into the objective.
Ooh, not quite on there for Preet Walker. Maybe resible though. The smoke's already down, and Charlie has been reclaimed now for the time being anyway. That slick push around the edge doesn't quite find the dividends that they were looking to pay out with.
Yeah, now this really resets everything back to square zero, right? Because now you need to mount a whole new push, regroup with your teammates. Good shot slow around the side in the vents.
Ooh, and another. This vent is a really important part of the map. If you can keep control of that on the defense, it's so hard to find those off angles. But in comes the strategic beacon. Is that a backfill over towards Charlie? I think they already stood on the point. We'll see how many players can get back and involved over on that angle. The pressure is on, and Charlie may fall again here. There is still just about able to fall back, get that defense going, and start to push those attackers off the point.
My screen as well when I'm playing Warfare is just perma-flashed and Sonic suppressed. Absolutely disgusting. Players are making their way in though. And there is finally attackers on the point. How long is a real question as they're quickly swept aside.
Pushing in from underneath. Up and through on the defense. And there's a lot of pressure. Actually, the vents have been dispatched as well. This is a big push coming through from the attackers. They have a second flank to come on in. It's a question of how much can they hold on that mouth of the vent into the point, but a nice little shutdown coming on through there is traded off, and the reses can come through. Now Charlie is in danger. With that vent position under control for the attackers, the rest of them could start to drop down.
UAV sent out on the swarm, but it is under pressure, like you say, John. Teams are in there getting rescues as well on the fly, but maybe wasn't the greatest time to go for it. Skipodi comes around the corner.
The wave of defense spawning back onto Charlie has managed to deal with the threat, but the Vent is still in control of the attack as they haven't managed to get that pushback over towards that area, that side of the map. Sushi now trying to breach his way on through on this west side of the map. Nades over to the backline, whiffs it, drops it at his feet, doesn't manage to get the value and goes down. That shouldn't be resable here, not under control, and the defense holds strong on Charlie.
Yeah, it looked a little unfortunate for Sushi. I mean, he was gearing up for something big. As soon as he whiffs that nade, it's practically game over at that point. Lots of targets down there for the defenders. Yeah, we're not seeing that coordinated push anymore from the attacking side. It has slowed to a lull. Finally, the defenders can get a little bit more a stalwart hold going on.
Charlie still in control. 239 reinforcements. Once that number drops to 0, the defenders win. But only so long as they hold on to this last point on the map, this Charlie point. The single focus for these attackers. They're trying to sweep around the edges again, trying to control these tunnels that allow them those access points towards Charlie. Another strategic beacon. You've got to imagine that's towards the back lines, but where can they spawn on in?
Sushi on our screens. Lobbing a nade this time. Doesn't go too far wide. Now looking to clear out underneath. Gets on the zip line in the back of the site. Gets one. Looks for more. Takes down another. Gets a good result. And that will open things up a little bit for the attackers. You start to see a lot of the kill feed go green.
And that's a nice push out the sidelines, capitalizing on the chaos. The res on towards Mr. Bunny as well to push on forwards. Those nades to keep them at bay, but they're into the capture zone now. Keeping these reses coming on through is so important, and they continue this pressure around the edge of the boxes. Multiple angles now overwhelmed, and Charlie in danger of falling. The defense needs to mount themselves up strong.
Yeah, this is where it gets tough for the attackers because realistically getting a respawn beacon down here that's useful is somewhat difficult because it can be quickly taken out, but players are holding on as best they can, but defenders are making their way in a similar vein. Respawn beacon right at the back of the site now. This is good. This will be where the attackers can start to make their full push. And this is a great result for them. It would be a shame if they get capped off the back of this.
Charlie very close to going over, controlling that sidelines. Mapapa holding down the off angle, waiting for that flank to come on through. The defenders are holding on by the skin of their teeth right now. And they need a little bit more. The spray down, a beautiful light up on the dart. And that's an excellent control over the sidelines there. Hopping out through the smoke, trying to get back on in. But the attackers keep the pressure up. And the momentum's in their favor.
Yeah, Mapapa is in an unbelievably good position, but he's had to hold it down with some fairly high mechanical skill, which he's certainly doing. Now holding on the sidelines too. This man is single-handedly breaking the lines of the defense.
And holding off the angle, finally falls, but it may have been enough to allow the rest of the attack on. You can see how many of them litter the point. Charlie is overwhelmed here. The defenders mounting their last defensive over towards the site, but it's falling short time and time again. The hurdle too high. That respawn beacon is down, but time is ticking away, and Charlie falls. The attack works. Group B take another victory.
Man, Mapapa there once again. Look, I'm going to call it, you know, Big Daddy in the building. Here is Mapapa. And I think that he has been significant. I mean, just watching him play, he is probably one of the most impressive players. We've seen him alongside with Sushi on that initial D-Wolf push. That was such an awesome highlight that he can add to his own reel at home. Really, really fun stuff. But again, such a difficult point to take in those end games. And you saw how long it took for the attackers to set anything up.
Yeah, it was a really difficult final point push. They get that early coordination. I think Group B in general seem to have that sort of cohesion where they see something or they've communicated it beforehand and they say, you know what, we're just going straight in. Come with us. We're going to be this death ball that's going to rock in and come out at an unexpected angle. But that was rebuffed to start. However, in the end, they were able to find it. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from that game.
Highlights are full quad bike rollout at the beginning there. We didn't quite get to watch happen and unfold on our screens. This was the initial push from the attackers, which was so strong. Being able to get around these sidelines, although it was ultimately overwhelmed. This gave so much time for the rest of the attackers to get in, and this was this fantastic push from Sushi, which was killer, honestly. And I think that his instincts in this match definitely allowed them to take this initial sector very easily.
Yeah, and then into the Bravo tunnels as well. They kept that momentum going. A fast drop down. It felt like the defense were going to hold, but again, it was just that underground push that came on through, and they split both Bravo 1 and Bravo 2 at the same time, and the defenders never really recovered in this phase. You can see them dropping down through those tunnels there, and in a moment, I imagine we're going to see that run down through the center, where they were able to claim a lot of presence over towards both of these sites as they split 1-1.
Yeah, I think that when we get to watch this map again, it definitely will require Group A to be way on the money down towards that last sector, because the reason that they were able to even survive for so long, to be able to set up a good and mount a good offensive down towards that last sector there, was purely because they had 400 reinforcements going into those final moments, which again, they were depleted by a good chunk by the end of it, and it might have been more desperate plays if they had less reinforcements going to that portion of the map.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it could have been a little bit more lackluster. However, the speed at which you take those earlier points really has that impact, and had an impact over towards Charlie as well. As Bravo 1 and Bravo 2, this is sort of that ring around the rosy, but the momentum was constantly and consistently in the favor of the attackers. That's that nice little hold down in the middle there. You can see Mary Chain doing a lot of work for the attack, does fall there, but in general, doing that anchor position justice, and really nice stuff to be able to find it. And then finally, the momentum came on through. Look at that quick dart out slide across. This was really impressive as well. The approach towards this ramp to allow Group B to make that route in a viable option, where generally you see that held for a long time, certainly in the games that I'm playing.
Yeah, it's tough. It's very, very tough to get through there. You really need to have an offensive on all fronts as well before you start making your way into this point, because you've got to distract the defenders enough. You can't allow them to have that one singular chokehold that they can just hold down the entire time. You got to make them think a bit, a little bit of sweat on the side of the defenders, really. And I think that although a lot of these attacks and positions that Group B took throughout the game were defended, it didn't really matter because they consistently split the attention of the defenders to the point where finally that one big attack could make it through.
Yeah, doing a lot of work, and we saw Mapapa at the end, really the anchor point for the attacking side, holding down those flanks over towards that tunnel that they tried to regroup on, as we're on board with him there. This is really what won it for them, right? Allowing the attackers all to just keep that pressure forwards whilst he's handling 6-7 of them. And that beautiful dart from the Luna did so much work as well. Luna in general, a very, very valuable operator here in the warfare mode.
Yeah, got some crazy flicks, and we've got a crazy interview for you right now. It is with Mary Chain, who we have spoken to a lot of times about the capability of this guy, because he's such a good player. Hi there, dude.
Hey guys, hey guys.
Thank you for joining us. It's been great to see you getting some frags in over the last few days, especially back in those semi-finals as well. You were running right in the trenches. Have you found a difference of transitioning from the semi-finals to the finals? The level of gameplay, have you seen an increase?
For our team, there was an increase because we felt our teams now are a little bit stronger than the enemies, so we could win the first two maps. And that's a whole different gameplay. If you have a stronger team, you can push with them together, and the enemies have to react to our situation. So yeah, you can farm a lot kills if you just wait for the enemies.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've seen you multiple times on the Toxic, waiting around in the smokes. Is that your favorite operator then, to play Toxic? Because I think we've seen other players switch between D-Wolf and Toxic, but mainly you're just a Toxic main.
Actually, I'm the medic guy main normally, but we felt like we need some difference in the team combination to have for every situation the right operator, you know. So I switched to Toxic for the matches. So like today, Fettbauch changed to Luna. So we think Luna has a lot of impact to the team. So we changed some tactics for the final rounds.
I mean, it seems to have worked. It was a lot of cohesive pushes for your group, right? In that last match in the shafts. Was that communicated beforehand, or was it just everybody kind of just knows what's going on, right? Everyone's like, okay, we're going for this push. You're seeing that.
Yes. I think that what happened is just the way you have to play this match. The maps we played, like you have to push on the riverside on trench line, you have to push in the middle on shafted and something. You know, it's like that's how the game has to be played, and that worked very well for us. So.
I mean, that's awesome that everyone's in each other's heads there. Like, they know exactly what needs to be done going forward. Are you confident then that your team and your group's going to do well in these next couple of matches?
Yeah, I think we will win the next 2 rounds. And I think our team will be part of the top positions when we keep playing like that. So I'm happy. So let's see what's going on next.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you? I'm hoping that you're going to be dishing out the damage as well as you have been over these last few matches. Is there anything you wanted to say? If you would give a shout out to anyone that's been supporting you, or your friends, family, any teammates, stuff like that.
Yes, I want to say a thank you to my friends who are watching the stream right now. I sent all the links out, doing some. Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for the interview. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much for joining us. That was really good to catch up with Mary Chain. It's really cool to see that sort of move from the first day of Warfare, and now everybody seems to have taken this a lot more seriously. And you heard from him, like, the idea of just all going at the same time. That's just innate, it seems, at this level of gameplay. Let's take a look at some of the stats from that last match.
So there's some crazy stuff going through here from Full Safe. Q-Pitch been able to get 29 kills alongside with Canyon, Crazer, and Landgrab, and it's feeling more and more likely that Full Safe will be our top team by the end of this. I think in terms of cohesion, they definitely have it. There are some other teams here that have particularly strong players. I mean, we got to see a lot of Mapapa, we got to see a lot of Sushi, but when it comes to Full Safe, they definitely just have that X factor coming through. We saw Q-Pitch lighting up the kill feed a lot of times, but it wasn't even him with the most amount of kills. It was Canyon.
Absolutely, able to get 34 there, but those reses coming through in clutch for Q-Pitch to be able to get that value on. Although it has to be said, being the highest scoring team there, only maxing out at, what was that, 15k on a player, something around that, or 14k, which actually wasn't the record for any team, by the way. It was just the fact that they were combined all fairly high up. That was Quo Potty at the top of the tables there. But in general, a lower value match from that first time around. There's fewer sectors, and the match was quite quick because of the pace at which the attack was able to succeed. So a little bit less point scoring opportunity there on the attack for Group B.
Yeah, I think that was the difficulty, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter too much for both sides because they're roughly getting the same amount of points or scoring the most. I think that Mary Chain said it best, that, look, pretty sure that his group is a little bit stronger over on Group B, and I'd have to agree with them. They do have that little bit of a tactical edge. Best kills from that match did come through from Turbo Supercharge, who has been up towards the top of the kills quite a few times, but it wasn't Sushi with the most kills on SPEKTR. It was actually FPS Zartek, who did really, really well for them.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 players standing out for the squad. Here are the assists coming on through, and you can see just a lot of teamwork coming through over towards the top of the tables. 87 assists and 77 as well, both on that same team, leading from the front. Very good stuff to be able to get towards the top. The Ratz and the Rats in 3rd and 4th place. Those are 2 different teams though. 1S, 1Z.
Yeah, 2 different teams. Definitely, you gotta say it that way, because they certainly have a bit of a rivalry going on at the moment. But overall, really, really fun to watch these teams duke it out. Versus, once again, having that little standoff between him and Crazer. 21 rescues to his 27. We have seen multiple times Versus just more or less playing that rescuer approach. Whereas I would say Crazer had a little bit more impact when it came to the killing side of things.
Well, that was the second match. We see we are going to be flipping the sides, flipping the map back to trenches. We'll see you guys after the break.
Admit defeat, Rookie. Give it to me.
What? How do you think about it? You don't know what you're doing. Give it back.
How dare you look down on me! Give it to me!
Looks like it's my turn.
Welcome back. Group B are on a tear here at the Delta Force Community Tournament for Europe's Grand Finals, as we have seen them now win 2 maps in a row, both on the trench lines and on Shafted. Of course, they will now have to take the attacking role on these trench lines in the upcoming game, but so far, it seems like they have it under control. They know what they're doing, they're being cohesive, and they're making it work.
Yeah, I think for Group B, there's definitely that aspect of just cohesion, like you say. They work well together. Apparently no one's typing in chat what to do and where to go. They just know what needs to be done, and that's nice to see. So perhaps that gets into the heads a little bit of Group A, where they know what needs to be done going forward and how they'll play it out. Though there was some slight strats been revealed there, pushing down the riverside. We'll see just how well Group B is able to pull that off. Here are our stats on the overall standings. Polska Gurom currently with 150k points, followed closely behind by Rage Mode Esports and Meteor Mimas. Full Safe did drop down towards 4th place, and it will be SPEKTR's in 6th.
Top 3 positions all in Group B. Full Safe and Pepegas, the only teams on Group A to feature on that front side of the page, into the money. So we'll see if they're able to hold onto that or potentially excel themselves further up the tables. At the moment, it's kind of only one team who isn't really up there with the rest of them, and I think the least said about that, the better. Everybody else still definitely in with an opportunity to try and join them up towards the top of the tables. With 156k on the table, there is a definitely conquerable difference between them and even 13th place.
Yeah, it really depends on the amount of points you're able to accrue, right, during all of this, and how many points you're able to get during these matches, because it is somewhat limited at times, around 16k, and it will require Polska Gurom to have a little bit of an unfortunate turn of events here on this next map, and I just don't see that really happening because they have been very consistent throughout. But you can see here it has been Group B dominating towards the top, with all 3 teams in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place being from Group B.
Yeah, absolutely. A dominant performance so far. They have had control. They will look to continue that control. Over to the trench lines, you can see that Group B will be attacking. After that, they will take their turn defending on Shafted. So we'll see if they're able to keep that one under control faster and better than Group A were able to go for. So we'll have to wait and see just what they're able to pull on out. Trench lines, in general, is quite a nice little tour of all different styles of gameplay that you'll see in the Warfare game mode. So we'll see if Group B are able to just stop that entirely dead in its tracks, maybe even on Alpha, which I think might be a little bit tricky, but those trenches could certainly be the terminus for Group A.
Yeah, so you start to get those vehicle drops in and the strategic beacons. It's only a matter of time because you start using artillery barrages. If it starts to get a little bit longer with it being only 1 point, that can be fairly beneficial for your team. I will be curious to see how Bravo 1 and Bravo 2 goes, because like you say, those are difficult positions in the trenches themselves. As we heard from some of our players the other day, they like the trenches because the trenches are good.
I mean, it's the trenches. What's not to like, right? You're just running around, going through these narrow alleyways, turning corners, trying to ping your way down, slide on through it, getting slick with the mud, slick with the blood as well, because it is really close quarters combat involved in those trenches. You cannot miss a beat, otherwise you're going down.
You are. Sliding through blood apparently as well, which is a bit of a
that's right, it's pretty gruesome,
morbid analogy, but okay. But yeah, it should get pretty interesting, pretty fun here. Obviously we saw that Delta 1, Delta 2 was just impassable for the Group A. This time around it'll be Group B attacking, seeing what they can get done here, see if we'll employ some different strategies. Be very curious to see how they do end up taking Delta 1 and Delta 2, because that felt like more of a blip for Group A than anything. I think they expected just to fly through that point and then send over towards Echo, but it never came to pass. The call to move back over towards Delta 1, definitely one of the turning points in that game, alongside with Mapapa's great hold there on Shafted. So again, that was more of a team play than anything, and it feels like that's where trench lines really does come alive, is in terms of the team's rotations in that mid game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely necessary to keep up the pace, and it is all about momentum in terms of getting control of that second sector on the map, and in general on every single sector. 2-point sector. There we go. Too many sectors in that one. But either way, you do need to make sure that you're not just rotating around as an attacker, because that only benefits the defense. You're just chipping away at those reinforcements. So keeping the pace up for the attacking side, definitely necessary. If you can take both sites at the same time, I mean, that's the objective, right? Then you will be moving on to the next section. And a solo assault onto a single area is often a lot more easy to coordinate, especially among 7 teams on your entire side, right? Everybody is much more focused in that scenario.
Absolutely. I felt like the tank play was a little bit more diminished over on trench lines last time around. And I think that's just because players in these groups, at least, are a little bit more efficient at taking down those vehicles. So although the tank has a place, it's not going to have a place forever in these matches. Oftentimes they will be taken out by a Viren with the magnetic bombs, but we'll get to see just that because the game is now ready and we'll be jumping back into trench lines once again for the final time today.
Group B on the offensive now, trying to get rid of that Group A hold. We'll see what they can find. Look at the flank coming through along that riverbed. They're moving up to the sidelines, not going straight up to the corner that we saw that Group A went for. Instead, they're taking control on the edges. If they can get this area, they can light up those sidelines, find those openings towards the main bulk of players in the center of Alpha.
Yeah, not all pushing over towards this barricaded wall. Instead, opting to take a sideline presence, which seems to be going very well so far in terms of the kill feed lighting up in the favor of the attacking side.
Making a lot of headway along that riverbank and doing a lot of work to suppress the corners here. Alpha already breached, and this is a fast approach for Group B. On towards this first point. Spray downs into the river. Need to be a little bit careful there, but Sushi's not going to let that one slip. Now suppressing fire over towards Alpha, keeping them in their corner, doing a bit of damage, tickling away, and already this corner is completely under control. The defense looking to try and remount here. They do manage to step forwards into this, but the center now is gone, and the attackers have control of the site entirely. V7X7 trying to hop on over, trying to get on in, but Alpha is falling, and it's falling fast.
Yeah, again, likely we'll be heading back up towards that 400 reinforcement count after this goes through. The defenders are definitely trying to get back in, but with the amount of attackers on this point, you really do think it's only a matter of time before Sector A goes in the favor of Group B. It's Mr. Bunny with a 5k on the tank.
Ooh.
Mate, that a 7.
This time around on the attack, getting to be able to play in towards those back lines, just find these shots, force the line back for the defense, and it's really working wonders for them. We'll see if that's able to continue here into the trenches as they're moving on in. The regroup needs to come through, but it is still the attackers just farming these points. Goodness me.
Yeah, and there's no reason not to. And I think this is just a staggered reproach here coming through from the guys on the defense. Good hop-ups, but now onto Bravo 1 and Bravo 2. Infamously difficult points to take in tandem. We have seen Sushi and his team be able to hold down Bravo 1 by themselves. We'll see if they take that kind of play again. Papa got his eyes in the sky this time around.
I mean, it's once more they're charging down the riverbank, right? They are trying to get this sideswipe and open up a lot more angles. The difficulty here is that you can't get both sides from this riverbank. You need to cross a lot of open ground to get towards that second site, that Bravo 1 position, but you can very effectively take control of Bravo 2 from this area if you just keep this anchor going. Unfortunately, they are getting trimmed away as time goes on. The reses can come out. It looks like the defense want to try and tail this rotate around the edge.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one, especially because we don't have snipers readily available. So running down that riverbank is so much safer for the attacking side. There's no snipers off in the distance to deal with them because sniping will not give you too many points here. And this game mode and this esport right now is all about getting points for the teams to accrue that money.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of value in the SMGs, the LMGs as well. Ooh, a big respawn onto Bravo 1, and it seems like the attackers may have found their feet. Look at that top angle as well. Able to do so much there finding those crossfires, really beautiful stuff here, and keeping control of the baseline of Bravo 1. This fight going on at the same time as the attackers are looking to push into Bravo 2 could be pretty difficult to deal with for the defenders, but it seems like they're finally making headway, dropping down into the main area of Bravo 1, and into the bunker they go. One more player to deal with, and that should be light work.
My Papa does get taken down, but will do a good amount of damage in the process. Sushi wrapping over towards Bravo 2. Not going to hit the overclock just yet, but now hits it. Now look for some more of these kills on side. Lune Arrow does expose some over towards Bravo 1. He's going to mount an offensive.
First player found, looks for a second, lighten them up. 2, 3, 4, 5, and plenty more where that came from. Unfortunately, does finally get shut down, but in the meantime, the attackers overwhelmed. Bravo 1 should be going down to them, depending on how fast they can clear out this bunker side of it. A lot of damage pouring on in. That's another, but the respawns are starting to come on in for the squads that have players in that area. Bravo 2 needs to be worried about it as well, as the attackers can try and backfill onto this area. Bravo 1 in control now, and only the one player there waiting for that rescue, but giving it up.
Yeah, great work, Sushi. Wedged a big gap in the door there over towards Bravo 1. And that will be now taken by Group B. Now looking for Bravo 2, where the majority of the defenders will be holed up currently.
Bravo 1. A wave of green just moving in from this attacking position. And a long-range suppressing area from Neotrix. Just looking for those players running across no man's land. Trying to clip heads, but we'll see how effective that is in the long run. Bravo 1, no threat from the defenders right now. They're not really looking to push in. I think maybe just on camera left. There are a few players on the defense trying to make that charge, and finally they break out from Bravo 2. You can see now they're mounting this offensive over towards Bravo 1. It's necessary to try and find these backfills, and that's what it's all about. Drain the reinforcements from the attacking side with these approaches.
Now, they have made a big wrap around the back of Bravo 2 here. A lot of kills going through towards the attackers, but Maku is on point for Bravo 1. The defenders aren't quite there yet. There is one kill that goes through, but potential for him to be picked back up again.
I'll do better next time.
Pick up there, Mapapa, anchoring B1. We know what a strong presence this guy can be. A big threat if you step into his crosshairs. Not even into his crosshairs, just into that laser beam. Not just on the side of his gun, but out the barrel too. And Bravo 2 now fully under control. I mean, you've got an anchor on Bravo 1, Bravo 2 fully under control. This is a full retreat. Right now, the defense should be looking to mount up over towards the hillside as we're going to be leaving the trenches.
Yeah, the quicker they can clear out these objectives as well, the less points available for the defending team, which makes it all the better for the attackers, as likely going to be further up on the tables. Good shots from line grab though. Potentially keep this under control for a little bit longer.
They are going to have to beat a hasty retreat though. I mean, they've got 14 seconds to get out of the zone, so just trying to extract value from being in a forward position. The defenders will slowly fall in dribs and drabs, getting back up to that hillside. Now, on towards Charlie sector.
It is impressive that Full Safe have been able to do such a good job in terms of points overall, despite being on the losing team most times. Polska Gurom being on Group B, definitely assisting them on being further up the tables, giving them more opportunity to get those kills through. And damage done. Crossing the bridge now. This is the tactic that we saw happen beforehand. Players trying to swing around the sidelines. Last time around, we saw a full-on defense up towards the very barrier of those trenches. Unfortunately, they forgot about the point. This time around, it does feel like the defenders are a little bit more clued in over towards Charlie.
There is already a flank. Look at this surround from the attackers. They've got the hillside further off on the angle there, and Charlie under threat from every which way. Immediately the defenders, but they are doing it again. They're just trying to hold on the forefront, and Charlie is almost certainly going to fall quickly to this.
Yeah, it feels like at this point in time they're realizing that, you know what, Charlie is somewhat of a indefensible position. Not fun to hold, so just try and extract as much value out of those front lines as possible before retreating back over towards Delta 1 and Delta 2.
And the spray downs coming in. The defense finally trying to resurge, but Charlie is fully under control. There's no way you make it in here. And the value being extracted right now for Group B continues to rise. The heals coming on through, keeping everyone nice and topped up. Doing a lot of work. Look at the point scoring value you can get from these heals as well. They just mount up on the bottom side of the screen. A defensive resurgence, a little bit lackluster here, and Group B will continue to march forwards.
Oh my god, are these snipers?
Over to the Delta phase. There's two of them. Blank, a rarity.
Finally, excited to see it at least. Comes on through. I mean, some really good positions to make it happen anyway, so why not?
Cool.
Here comes the rockets through from Mr. Liver.
Absolutely cracking skulls here, but the damage is being done. The defense now into Delta sector, Delta 1 and Delta 2, that linear front to back sort of style of fighting, but Delta 1 is seemingly caving to the pressure. A lot of damage pouring in. They're trying to regroup into the smoke and branch out. Look at this wide flank from Landgrab hitting that drop shot. Look at a sweep through as well. Already a fast rotate to the backlines as well towards that Delta 2 angle to try and get the attack in with a dual position approach to this site.
Yeah, this is a good spot for Neotrix as well. Players do tend to try and move out from the battle zone and then wrap around that side as well. So him basically holding that one down is very good. Also, just peeking over the nose of the hill here, getting Mr. Bunny in position with the tank.
That is what you want to see, but plenty of tanks, plenty of ordnance being layered on in towards Delta 1. Look at that off angle. The assault vehicle doing a lot of work. It's a little bit more vulnerable than the tank, but it moves faster. It's more agile as the artillery barrage gets called in as well. I think Delta 1 falls here. This is a response from the defense to try and slow down this attack, but I think it's too little too late.
Yeah, most likely. Azada not able to live up much longer, and the attackers are looking now to take Delta 1 in quick succession from Charlie. There is an attempt to make it in, but none more than that. The defenders will have to wrap back around over towards Delta 2. There is a force over towards the foothills, further down the hill from Delta 1.
Ooh. I think that just got handled though. On the off angle, Delta 2. Yeah, it did get swept away. The capture comes through. Look at the players breaking out on that left side here, trying to get that high ground advantage over Delta 2. The trench is still in control of the defenders, but Mr. Bunny marshalling the forces, protecting that backline, being such a great presence for them, keeping them nice and safe. You can't really move into the tank without a coordinated approach from the defense, and right now, they seem to be a little bit in shambles.
It's nice, actually. They're clearing out a lot of the stragglers, so not just immediately sending over towards Delta 2 here. They're instead making sure they clear their backlines, sure there's no enemy players from the defending side looking to swing round on towards Delta 1. Mapapa dropping the respawn beacon. Not too close towards Delta 2, but close enough that it should provide a very good staging point for the attacking team.
We're going to move on in on the Luna, using those nades to clear angles, the arrow on the recharge as well. Moving forwards, getting his team respawning as well. On this off angle, trying to get control of these trenches. A really important part of this map when you're looking to move up towards Delta 2. If you have control here, you can mount an offensive on multiple angles towards Delta 2, and that's exactly what they secured now.
Into the site. A lot of jumping and gunning here. Quite an athletic player is Mapapa. And the attackers now are on point with the assistance of Big Bunny in the back lines. Yeah, this is going very quickly.
Now, with this assault, Delta 1 needs to fall fast if the defenders want a chance here. The question is, how much value have they been able to find? The rundown on the assault vehicle here, right to the back lines. Still got a lot of health left on that vehicle, dropping that smoke cover as well, and getting so much value from this rotate through. The defenders need to find something, but Delta 1 seems to be what they're putting pressure onto right now. But it's only 3 players there, 1 player to try and handle them. We'll see what they can get done. Hang on a minute. Is this a 1v3 to hold on to Delta 1 for the attackers? Not quite able to get that final player down. And that will be Delta 1 falling to just 1 player. Let's see what regroup can happen.
I think that might have been a strategic beacon sent over towards Delta 1 potentially. Here's Mary Chain. We saw him on the Toxic earlier. We got the chat with him earlier as well. And he feels like the attacking team knows exactly what to do in which moment. And he's leading the charge back over towards Delta 1 to ensure it is secured here. Running slightly against the clock because the forces will start to diminish on Delta 2 as they try and remount back over towards Delta 1.
That regroup towards Delta 1 drew a lot of the presence from the attackers off Delta 2, and you can see that capture progress now coming in for the defenders. Delta 2, though, a little bit easier to assault now. You can see the control the attackers have over that trench position. They've lost a little bit on the hillside to the left flank, but they should be able to regain that fast.
Yeah, they have a foothold, right? They're wedged in. There's players that have not quite gone down yet as well on the sidelines, just waiting for that re-aggression on towards the point, which is going quite well at the moment.
Delta 2 feeling the brunt of it. That's unfortunate there. Not quite going to be able to do anything about it. On the defense, you can see it's already getting overwhelmed over towards Delta 2. Immediately, with that trench position, once that's in control of the attackers, it's very, very quick to see these points start to fall. A counter-offensive over towards Delta 1 as they try and sneak their way through on that high ground. But there is Mary Chain to be dealt with. They have managed to do that. Delta 2 is falling, but they are having an answer over towards Delta 1. That capture progress coming in as well.
Yeah, this is always a really tough part of the map, is trying to juggle between these two positions. Realistically, it might come down to players saving up those guided missiles to ensure both objectives can be taken off at the same time. Nice little shot from the sniper as well.
Cracks the skull. Delta 1 trying to be maintained right now. Mary Chain hopping on up. Land grab goes down, unfortunately, on that approach, but in comes the vehicle. The assault begins back towards Delta 1, lighting them up and taking no prisoners. Goodness me, what a rundown for them. But is it enough of an opening? The rest of the attackers not quite there on Delta 1.
Yeah, they need some heavy ordnance over towards Delta 1 now to ensure that they can pull this one back. Strategic beacon placed down. I'm imagining that's from the defending side. And an artillery barrage as well over towards Delta 1. Try and get them off the point. There is a full-on emphasis over towards Delta 1 now, though, for the defenders.
I think this is smart from Sushi. You know that Delta 1's under contest. They're going to be looking for that backfill. Unfortunately, the point scoring capacity of that position going to be severely diminished. A huge glut of players over towards Delta 1, though, on the defense. They're getting surrounded, though, and one by one, getting picked off. The reses aren't coming through either. Just going to make things so hard. Mapapa dropping that scouting arrow over towards Delta 1, getting a lot of value for those assists for that reveal on the area. And Delta 1 starts to slowly trickle away. Delta 1 in control. Both sites now will be spawn points for the attack, and this should be a move on towards Echo.
D2 been put under pressure, but Sushi, like you said before, was holding it down. Really good lineup as well on the players in position. We'll find another off the back of it. Slightly exposed here. There is a respawn beacon. There must be. He takes it down. This is a crazy play from him. Tremendous energy showed today from Sushi. Looks for another, but will collapse on his head. But at the very least, he did an unreal job at protecting that position on Delta 2. Was it enough, though? I don't know.
Oh, just about gonna fall in the face of it, unfortunately. Delta 2 going down is really unfortunate there. It felt like the attackers had it. With 196 reinforcements, though, they still got a little bit of time to play with. And they can chill out for just a moment longer. Delta 2 not fully secured by any stretch of the imagination, though. And they have to be worried about that trench position, that high ground as well.
Delta 1 also being reclaimed here. It's all getting very tough for the side of the attackers. Both points getting claimed at the same time. Stuck back behind this hilltop once again. Almost a full reset on the macro here.
lot of eliminations lighting up there, and look at how green that left side of the kill feed is. Potential momentum shift there. As vehicle frags start to pour on in, it's definitely going the way of the attackers. Both sites now actually being captured at the same time by the attack. A beautiful resurgence here. A little bit of a misstep maybe on the hold for Delta 2, and maybe they can keep onto it this time because the attackers can swarm down the hill from Delta 1, and Delta 2 being under threat. The defense needs to hold on to this one, otherwise Echo is next.
There's a great retaliation from the attackers, absolutely, to get back in there. And again, for Mapapa, he's doing a great job alongside the rest of his team to hold on to Delta 2 where it counts the most.
The defenders just about able to keep control of Delta 2. It looked a little bit hairy. I thought the attackers were going to be able to keep this momentum, and they will continue to push down the hillside on towards Delta 2. The fight far from over at the moment. You can see the attackers moving on in, trying to use those vehicles as well, finding the surround. But Delta 2 fully in control now of the defense.
For how long? Can't imagine too long here, as this is probably one of the best pushes we've seen so far from the attackers on towards Delta 2. There isn't too many forces here from the defenders either, who are pushing back over towards Delta 1. Feels like a full-on front line over towards Delta 2 itself. Good stuff here as well, getting players back up on their feet who are in critical locations.
Oh my goodness.
Oh dear me, not again.
That is a very fast take onto Delta 2, but you can see in the back lines that defense has come back on through. They have a little bit of a foothold in the trenches, which means that access to Delta 1 is quite simple. They just need to move up that hillside, playing around that attention. Delta 1 should fall back into the hands of the defense. 125 reinforcements, and this is where it starts to get a little bit hairy.
Yeah, you're getting a bit of a struggle here now. Delta 2 under pressure. Players are still on it, but Delta 1 slowly but surely getting capped out. This might be the beginning of it. Delta 2 unfortunately lost in those last moments.
There's the artillery barrage though, and that might be able to give them the go on towards Delta 2. They've got that foothold on that left-hand side there. They're moving up to those boxes, moving up to that cover, and they want to try and turn this one around. The approach here for Sushi, as Group B trying to make their way on in. He's up to the wall. Overload mode activated. Let's see what he can get done. We've seen it before, and he is brutal with it. Hops on over, looks for more. A terror on towards Delta 2, and will be able to light them up for 2, 3, 4 as well. Finally slowed down there, but that res can come on through nice and quickly. Delta 2 will be in control, and finally Sector D is captured. How fast can they get over towards Echo? This is where we saw the vehicles come in so importantly over towards that tunnel position. Will they be able to hold it down on the defense?
Because it was quite messy, this final engagement. I don't really think there'll be too many vehicles sent out over towards Echo almost immediately. But we did notice that no guided missiles were sent through from the attackers. They have been waiting, they have been preparing. Sure, there was some artillery barrages, but I think there's still something left in the back pocket. Mr. Bunny in the tank, but for how long?
Trying to get that rocket on the lock on there. And that's exactly what you need when you're dealing with tanks, when you're dealing with heavy artillery like that. But there's two of them. Goodness me. Swapping one out for the other. And the fast approach from the quad bike this time around,
they're
actually getting on in. But already, yeah, they're already in position. This is a really nice drop down that zip line to be able to control the tunnel approach. That's what lost the game when we saw it get to this stage last time, and they won't fall prey to it this time.
I almost feel like some players just got knocked off a zip line there as they fell to their deaths. Shots coming through from Neotrix, who has been pretty damn stalwart for the team. Been locking it down with this LMG.
Ooh.
Up until now.
Not the highest point scoring either, but Echo, a difficult position to assault. You could see a lot of players gathering at the base of that zip line. Dropping down is death pretty much. And if you can get control of that server room, of the top floor as well, it can be great. And look at how fast those kills are coming through for the offensive. Mr. Bunny might just be able to roll straight on in. The courtyard is open. Have they found a foothold? I think they've managed to open up towards that server room and get that strategic beacon down.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough players underneath holding in. An enemy tank on the defending side comes through. Will he be able to face up against Big Bunny? That's the real question. Shots coming through, but slowly the point is being removed. Point blank with the AT4.
Goodness me. Demolishing that vehicle. That's a lot of points on board as well. Does get taken down in the open courtyard. The satchel charges the magnetic over the top. They are looking for it. That signals go time for the guided missiles as well. Echo can be opened straight on up, and that is on the defense, taking a lot of players out from that server room position. And now the defenders can start to hold on to Echo.
Yeah, very important guided missile as well. Getting them out of the server room, super important. Out of that warehouse. Neotrix doing a good job imitating land grab from earlier with these AT4s coming through. I think Mr. Bunny finally might have been taken out of it, but he's still going, smoking, surely.
Does manage to, I think, get their rocket off, but it's not quite enough to take the tank down. Does go down to the spray in the meantime. You can see there is cavalry warfare on the off angles as well. These mounted armored vehicles doing bits. Another guided missile, this time landing for the attack. Can they be able to gain momentum from this?
Yeah, Thoki definitely is able to get a little bit done, but a bit more from the enemy team. Group A desperately trying to keep this. I'm surprised Mr. Bunny has been able to stay in this tank for as long as he has. He has been under constant fire, and finally the tank is brought down.
Yeah, these engineer classes doing a lot of work for them. Grabbing those demo experts. And the spray downs from the top lines towards these players trying to exfiltrate from the armored encampments. Doing bits as well. Echo getting captured, Blank. They did manage to gain momentum off of that guided missile. You can see they're pushing in from this corner. The top of the windmill there, dropping on the parachute into danger with the stall on it, but immediately spotted, taken down. That is, I think, a little bit too bold, it's safe to say, but outside is under control of the attackers with 128 reinforcements. They may have just been able to do enough to secure Echo.
Gotta respect it, but yeah, players are on now, and it is getting capped. Only a few seconds remain.
Echo will fall. The attackers win, and Group B once more mount a successful aggression towards that final point. Really good stuff. It went the distance, though, and I felt like Group A had their moments in that match. They had some times where it felt like they came alive a little bit, but I just don't think they're going to outscore on this one either. I think we will continue to see Group B towards the top of those tables.
Yeah, it definitely felt like there was a bit of sluggishness towards the end there, and reasonable as well. They have been fighting for a long time in that match over the hold over on Echo. Not as many guided missiles as I assume will be coming through from the attackers, but they got it done in the end. I think Thoki's initial guided missile did just enough to allow those beacons to get the players in, as there wasn't any players from Group A on the point whilst they waited out that guided missile. And I think that was the big moment where realistically Group B could just muster their forces. Although the guided missiles didn't get too many kills, it didn't matter. It bought them time.
Yeah, they were able to leverage that time effectively. Great stuff on the approach there. I think Delta sector was kind of where it got a little bit hairy for them, constantly getting backfilled, but that's kind of what you expect on that point, right? That trench position under control for a time. They weren't quite able to get it, but eventually they shut it down, and they moved pretty fast onto Echo. We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, it will be back over to Shafted as our final match approaches. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few.
Yesterday at 1500 hours, a convoy was attacked passing through Asara's eastern transport hub. Survivors confirmed the attack was perpetrated by the Asara Guard. This is the third attack this month. Residents and merchants in the area were already panicking. Hamka, one of the leaders of the Asara Guard, is our prime suspect. He operates east of Zaltiva and has been extremely active lately. We have reason to believe that he is trading stolen supplies with an unknown party in exchange for arms. You need to find out what he's planning. At dawn, recon drones sighted Hamka in a fishing village near Zaltiva. Get there, find and neutralize Hamka ASAP. The village is unusually quiet today. Watch out. Don't fall prey to an ambush.
Take out the intruder! Artillery barrage! What the? Target down! Go for it!
Beware of hostile suicide vehicles.
For Hamka! Fire! Take them out!
vital for transit. If the bridge is blown, we'll lose our reinforcements. Disarm those bombs, now!
Stop them! Go! Full throttle!
All bombs are disarmed. Good job.
Fire! Hold them back!
A Havoc heli? What's it doing in Asara Guard territory?
Our vehicle needs to be fixed! Loser, over here! RPG! We're taking damage! Fire! Fire! Land them! Now!
and one more match left to play. At the end of the day, for Delta Force here in the community tournament for Europe, it has been a journey for these teams. But now, towards the end of the grand finals, it seems like Group B are primed and ready to spring into action and take those top spots. Let's take a look at the stats from that last match that we saw on the trench lines, where Group B were able to go the distance on their assault towards all of the sectors. A great result for them, and an even greater result for Polska Gurom.
And it feels this way that Polska Gurom are closer and closer to pick themselves up a massive lead in the tables. What is that? Almost 100k off of one game. Really crazy stuff. I think for... Oh, I hate that he's like the best player as well. Voz Vinozi. I'm just gonna go. I think I'm going with that one. He's a crazy player. And he has to be the best scorer as well. I need some assistance. Yeah, fantastic stuff to him. Let me do it. I'm gonna do a little Google.
Oh yeah, hit him with the pronunciation. One's noisy. Noisy? I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to try and figure out the pronunciation on that one, because certainly being heavily represented at the top of these tables, which is good to see. A lot of these players actually on the attack there. Group B, you can see populating this score fairly heavily as well. So we'll see if they're able to keep that pace up. Best kills actually goes to a defensive player. 74 found, and it's not going to be the unpronounceable at the top of the tables.
It's not Loyo at the top from Pepegas. How to get himself 74 kills, just one more, 3 more than Voki. Which is fantastic stuff. And Kupic still going strong for full safe, despite being on the what we would say the weaker team here, I would say, in terms of the groups. Febouch as well, all the way up in the best assists at 110, tied with Maliva from 7th Liver. And Mr. Bunny there, 106, who was doing a phenomenal amount of work there for them in that match, up until his tank was finally brought down.
Yeah, unfortunately couldn't go all the way with that one, but still highly effective, and those vehicle assists very, very valuable as well. The rescues, that still goes to Versus. Krazer nearly able to keep up this time around, but still 52 for Versus on that defense, able to pick players up left and right and every other direction you can think of.
Yeah, I mean, Versus is really just the battle medic here. Krazer, definitely a little bit more on the kill side of things, but 43 is significant. That did go all the way, so there was a lot more time to get those reses up in the picture. But we saw just how strong reses can be, especially when you're resing teammates who are already on the point, especially like Delta 2.
Yeah, absolutely necessary to get everyone back together as much as you can. Finding those reinforcements on spot is obviously a little bit better than having them spawn some way off, so you can get them straight back into the fight. Although it can be a little disorientating when you get picked up and immediately you're shot back down to the floor. However, needs must. You got to get them stuck on in. Let's take a look at the standings as they appear after 3 of our 4 matches. Going into the final game, it will be Polska Gurom in the lead by a solid 23k margin as well, Blank. And that is a really good result for them. You can see that those drop-offs are a little bit less distinct as we go down those tables. But overall, Polska Gurom for Group B doing well. But you're right on full safe. Group A represented on 3rd place.
Yeah, I think they've done a remarkable job being on defense there, being able to get that many points. I think I've cracked the code. 2 separate words. Wunsch Neusche. That's what I'm going to go for. I think it's good-ish. So
Wunsch Neusche.
We're going to pronounce it horribly, and I apologize to anyone in the chat who is from Poland. I'm trying my best. All right.
Even if you're not from Poland, we're still sorry, because it's
yeah, exactly. We're having a bad time. We're having a bad time here.
Absolutely. Well, last match is up for you, and that will hopefully keep your mind off of it. Shafted is the last map to go this time around. It will be Group A looking for the attack as we start up on high on the top. That difficult approach to the train station point can be a little bit treacherous, but hopefully they'll be able to find those openings. We saw some great approaches coming through on that side with the overload from the D-Wolves, moving up to that top side of the train yard as well.
Yeah, some great overclocks overall. I mean, you get the overload with the new skin. I think it's a nice little addition to that one. Makes you feel like you're a bit more powerful in the field. But yeah, overall, Shafted a very fun map. But it will be switched around a little bit here with the attacking and defending team being switched up. We saw it took a lot of coordination to actually end up taking Echo in the end. So I'm very curious to see how Group B actually defends on this map versus Group A, and whether it will go all the way to the end, or will we have some railway shenanigans to start things off?
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping that the map is going to get stuck in and underway fairly soon, though, because we do have our last game to play. Warfare will conclude after this, and we are going to send on over to the Shafts once more for our final game here, not only of the Warfare, but the entirety of the Europe side of this community tournament here for Delta Force. It's been great to see how these strategies are unfolding, and it is fast, dynamic, using those quad bikes straight up to the sidelines and a very aggressive hold from the defense.
Yeah, they're already up to the train line here, which is incredible to say the least. Sushi getting right up into the picture on those cargo holds. But yeah, this is the angle that you really want to take early on whilst you can, and this will really delay the attackers a lot. Fanatics already up on the top side. Oh, poor stream there.
Nah, we're back in straight away, immediately. This defense is, as I said before, fairly aggressive, but it's those smokes that are keeping it safe right now. The attackers can't quite make it around the tip of this one, and that is what allowed the attack to succeed last time around when we were watching this with Group B on the attack. Spray downs from Apapa on the defense, just covering those crosses. As soon as those smokes start to drop, you could see that they have to hit the deck and slow down, which means that they need to reinvest that utility down onto the angle. This could potentially be an opening. We actually do have a sniping squad for the attack coming on through, but it's being kept at bay by one player.
Which is essential. Really good hold there coming through. Oh, bit of lag. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, for the defending team, this is such an aggressive hold. Finally, they have broken in over towards that right-hand side. Kaspiy on the Hat Claw, getting a little bit of information. Playing in slow motion as well.
And that's talent. Time dilation, not actually a native skill to any of the operators here, but seemingly pulling it out of the bag from somewhere. Attackers have made some routes in over towards the main approach to the train station here. Samu leading the charge, but does go down. However, the rest of the attackers are making their way up the stairs. The lineups here, though, are really strong for the defense. As soon as you step forwards, there are so few channels that you can be hiding in to try and make it work for you. A little bit of information gathered. But again, the attackers having this sort of strange sniper off angle is what's allowing them to move up towards this opening on the train station, but they can't really get much further. The defense is strong.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, honestly. I do like it. They have forced the defense in towards the warehouses, though, which is good news for them. They get a lot more space on the outside. This is definitely a position where you want to be able to drop those respawn beacons. Right now, though, is a fairly decent hold. One player goes down, line grab, lovely nade towards that back line. See how long the defenders can hold on to Sector A. Realistically, this point right now is just about diminishing the reinforcements for the enemy team.
Down to 333, though, so not a massive chunk taken away. They are starting to light it up, though, and you can see that flex out on the far side. So despite drawing attention to the main entrance here on the train station, they have managed to keep that backline secure, and that is really important for Group B to be able to keep control of that if they want to hold it out here on the first point.
Immediately starting off with some good shots. Fanatics actually being pretty marvelous on the approach here, just playing in and out of his smokes and getting the heals off at the same time. Spot on the SMG 45 here. The side grip. PSR tech. Getting some good work done as well, but the defenders have been able to push back out again, which is very good. The difficulty here a lot of times for the defenders is because there is so much cover, there's a lot of potential for reses to go through. Oof, Papapa very much out of enemy lines there, getting told to get back in or face the consequences.
I mean, you do have a decent chunk of time to actually push in, pick up a lot of damage, slow down the approach, and that can do so much for you, making it work as well. But finally, that top side is starting to get overwhelmed. Maybe Group A have managed to find themselves a route into this one. But for now, it's still a little bit treacherous to make this approach. Half of the train station seemingly in their favor. Not too many players on it either way. Slowly, the capture's starting to come through. They've got to find these players and flush them out.
Yeah, Papa moving in. Oh, he checked the angle as well. I hate when that happens. You check the angle, you did your due diligence, but you didn't fully clear it. Defenders are moving in, but slowly. Sector A going in the control of the attackers, but I think that was a fully mounted approach from the defending side. Popped off the quad bike.
They had a little foothold there for the attack, but they were immediately rebuffed. That pressure comes on out. But what can the attackers get for this, right? You need to invest so much to push them out. Is the presence going to be felt on the off angles, on the other positions? The attack needs to get value from having that under control.
Tearing this warehouse to pieces like paper, ripping the sides off the building, limiting that cover. Sushi, there's some good work done here, at least on the D-Wolf sidelines. I don't. How the hell is he still alive?
Goodness me. All right, has the smoke cover as well. The flashbangs, they're not going to phase him anything. He's just straight up into the cover. Getting back to the rest of the team, more fights at his doorstep, and unfortunately for him, that does get closed off. Unfortunately, though, for the defense, the attackers have managed to control up towards the majority of this warehouse now, and I think the train station is just about to depart. It's about to fall here, Blank. The defense not really with too many routes on in.
Yeah, the defense are definitely struggling. Neotrix on the sidelines, sending in some nades, getting a huge amount of damage done, actually, which is lovely to see. But again, 200 reinforcements removed. I think you can call that a good result.
Ooh. Hang on a minute. It might be coming back into the favor of the defense. They found some sort of a foothold, but the vehicle now up and personal. The smoke's getting dropped, the rundown, and this is an excellent flank coming on through for the attack. However, the defense have managed to keep control of the point. I thought it was done and dusted, but they had other ideas.
This is slowly going in the favor of Group B again. It is back and forth. Very, very much needed to get those reses off. Don't want to be wasting reinforcements at this stage of the game. Down to 190. Already plowing through half of the reserves here.
And they are back onto the point, onto Alpha. And now they have it under control. Sure, there was a defensive resurgence, but they didn't have the off angles to support that push. They couldn't maintain it. It was untenable. And now they have to be pushed back down underground, and we're into the shafts.
Either way, I think you'd be fairly pleased with that result. Down 100 reinforcements total. So up to 300 remaining going forward. Papa holding on the zip line, but will have to move down with the rest of his team. In comes the drops with the parachutes.
And now they're just catching players on the back foot if they can, trying to isolate. The drop down needs to be precise. We saw before it was that central push that worked for Group B. We'll see if Group A can enact the same strategy, or if it will be contained, if it will be curtailed.
There's some pretty cruel lightning arrows been sent onto the start of the zip line as well. Very mean. That will keep them at bay. Attackers move on down. And defenders haven't had an amazing defense at the start here. I think they were a little bit more preoccupied with getting themselves back into position. Good shots from line grab on full safe. Opening up the doorway for the attacking team.
The defense are trying to control the underground tunnels there, and you can see those respawns are coming through fast. The attackers want to keep control there. Sure, there's a little bit more resistance, but it's just so hard to do anything. That tactical hold spray down for Landgrab is working wonders. And down into the tunnels he goes. Trying to keep things under control now. As Bravo 1 and Bravo 2 for the attack need to come on through.
Yeah, this is the biggest amount of effort that needs to be put in right now for the defenders, because this will be where the attackers are at their most organized. They have to jump out through the vents. Good smoke as well from the Stinger.
Nice little pickups around the sidelines, but Bravo 2 is under threat. Attackers in, but fairly surrounded right now, and they are going to be burnt down a little bit here. Not going to have the numbers to get on in. 261 reinforcements left for the attack. They spent a lot more on Alpha than we saw Group B do. We'll have to try and get it. Both sides actually under pressure here, as the attack is taking Bravo 1 into their control. Bravo 2 is getting fully recaptured, though, in the meantime.
I think for the defenders, a bit more preoccupied with Bravo 2, allowing B1 to be capped here. Sort of makes sense. They want to be able to refocus onto one objective. It was a good initial push from the attackers. Now they have to refocus their attention elsewhere. But B1 getting swarmed back on again. Okay.
And this is generally what the defenders are looking for in terms of the pace. Allow these points to be captured back and forth. Be the ones to do so. You can get a lot of points for doing that. Just standing on these points, getting these captures. And you're just farming away, taking down those reinforcements. They're down to 236. They're still a decent chunk. Well, they don't want to waste any time now. It's now where you can get a little bit lax. You think, oh, we've got enough reinforcements. We can get a little bit too bold with it. No, you need to maintain that because you're looking down the barrel of Charlie if you're able to keep these points under control.
Bravo 2, there was a massive push from the attackers here over towards that position, but a good defense so far, at least chunks away at players. But Bravo 2 is fully secured now with a huge amount of players on the point, and you can imagine quite a few respawn beacons being tossed down in the process. This should be a little bit of a good hold here.
Oh. That is unfortunate. The spray down through the smoke works out. Bravo 2 getting recaptured. Bravo 1 not even feeling the footfall of the attack at the moment, but that might change in just a moment. You can see they're mounting up that scaffold, and onto the sidelines they go, trying to surge on in, take 1 point of control at least. Tuck it under the belt, but the defense looks strong here.
I think right now they're quite happy just to ping pong between the points, cause problems between them. Bravo 2 just isn't really being capped quite fast enough here for them to mount that defense over towards Bravo 1.
Dear. Bravo 2 getting fully controlled, but look at the attacking momentum that they've got around the headland there. They need to come in fast onto Bravo 2 to try and gain momentum here. They are fully sweeping in. This is a heavy investment. They're likely going to lose their other site because of this, but we'll see what they can get done.
I think this is all they're going to do. They are just going to ping pong between Bravo 1 and Bravo 2, because every single time they want to assault over towards Bravo 2, they have to fly through the tunnels to make that happen. Slowly but surely, Bravo 1 is getting back under the control of the defenders. They haven't quite fully capped out on Bravo 2 just yet, and there's still defenders pouring in.
Bravo 1 not quite fully under control. A nice shutdown onto Sushi. Bravo 2 fully in control. The question is always on these trade-offs between the 2 points is how much momentum can you maintain? What sort of speed can you bring to this? And it seemed like maybe they had the advantage on the attack here for Group A, but that has faltered. They have slowed down. They didn't manage to keep the ball rolling, and unfortunately that might be their demise here. 160 reinforcements may not be enough to secure this.
Yeah, again, for Sector A, I would say that they expended a lot of their time on that objective. Right now, the amusing thing is just the fact that because they don't have to pass through those tunnels here, and right now the attackers are going to have to wrap all the way round to B1, they just get a shortcut over towards Bravo 2. Going to immediately start to cap back on towards that side. And these ping pongs are becoming shorter and shorter for the defenders. Almost now having both sides back under control, all for themselves.
Down to 140 reinforcements. The spray down's looking pretty good. Actually dropping back just in time. Looking to try and heal up the teammates as well. Control of the tunnel still earned for the defense. And this is a solid hold so far, but in he goes. Forwards push. Moving on in. Pops around to the other side. Playing behind those UAVs, but there is a crossfire now established. They have got control of this corner. The smokes have allowed enemies to move on through, though, and they need to be careful. Jumping on up and over, the hand in the way, but it's not going to matter. Still hits the shot.
You're lucky to have me.
Yeah, they absolutely are lucky to have him in that situation. So low HP, but still resin his teammates. For the attackers, things are starting to get dicey. 100 reinforcements remaining. No real possibility in artillery barrage within these close quarters and with a roof over their head either. This is a painful position to be in.
Spray downs for Sushi. Racking up the points. Finally, points start to get contested here, both Bravo 2 and Bravo 1. But it looks like Bravo 1 stalwart in defense, Bravo 2 more so as well, but yeah, no, the defender's just holding on to both of these really effectively. You'd see there the UI to get those respawns onto teammates. Nice stuff, nicely found. Attackers are starting to open up the kill feed, but they've only got 84 reinforcements. They cannot afford to let this slip. It's now or never for them if they want to get to that Charlie point.
Yeah, probably got 2 or 3 more pushes in them with this reinforcement count. Probably closer, just 2 at this point in time. Turbo Supercharger getting picked back up again, and they are back at square one with both sites being removed. And again, they have to coordinate themselves here. And I just think that you get into that point in the game where you are panicking, and you are panicking bad.
The defense holding nice and forwards here, but 50 reinforcements now. People are taking them up really quickly here. No conservative approach to this. Group B seem like they might just be able to hold it. A nice little run out on the spray down there. Has the backup of the rest of the players as well. Down towards the bottom of the zip line. Goes for the parachute stall as well. Doesn't even take the damage there. The attack needs to find the openings. They just can't quite find it. And they have managed to move towards Bravo 2, but is the response from the defense going to be there too?
Shots just blasting out. 38 reinforcements remaining on our final map of the day. Potentially soon, the Delta Force Community Tournament might be coming to an end and we'll be able to crown our victors.
Hang on a minute. Bravo 1 under control, maybe? No, I think they just managed to find some sort of an opening. 33 reinforcements. I mean, that number drop has started to slow down here. Bravo 1 has been regained control of by the defenders, though. They have been pushed off that angle. Bravo 2, sure, it's been claimed, but look at how many players sit on Bravo 1. There is just no way in here, not with the numbers you've got left. And they are starting to drop like flies, Blank. 20 reinforcements left, and that will not be enough to see them through. Group B, with a clean sweep over all of it, have been able to shut down time and time again anything that Group A has tried to do.
Mapapa back in action. 7-6. Down to just 4 reinforcements. It's looking dicey. It's looking bad. But if we look to the leaderboard at all, it feels like Polska Gurom might have been able to secure their position at the top after that final game.
And there we go, the conclusion, the final match is there. We're going to have to wait for the stats to come in to see exactly who is going to sit atop the pack. But you're right, Polska Gurom, they had a lead. They did well in that match too. So we're expecting to see that name certainly in the top 3, if not in that glorious top spot, taking the lion's share of the money too.
Yeah, a massive few matches there. And I mean, it has been fun. Definitely seeing that some players are just better than others here when it comes to Warfare. Mapapa, definitely a player that was on our mind that entire time, alongside with Sushi, Mary Chain, Vonch Noishi, which I'm going to go for again. I'm butchering it.
There we go.
But that's okay.
Hey,
I'm trying.
Yeah, there you go. And that's what counts. The assault onto Alpha here for Group A. It was a little bit slower than needed to be able to have the numbers to launch into Bravo sector effectively. It is unfortunate, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Unfortunately, this time around, they just can't quite do it, which means that on average, Group B just has 10% more points, right, across the board. That's the benefit you get for winning these matches. So in general, you're definitely not expecting a team from Group A to be on that top spot podium, but still, there were 1 or 2 entrants who did manage to make some headway into the money.
Yeah, I think for full safe, they were a particular team that we have to talk about multiple times. I think for Landgrab and the rest of his squad, they were fantastic on defense a lot of times. Despite being on the losing team multiple moments, they still had a really good showing despite all that being on the back foot. So the fact that they're able to maintain such a strong presence in a lot of this just shows you how well they were doing. Kaspiy in particular was a player that we really enjoyed watching here over these matches. You can see Sushi up in the front lines once again on the D-Wolf. I think looking at Shafted, it definitely feels like Sushi really enjoys this match.
Absolutely. I mean, in general, we have had some really strong run and gun players sort of start to develop. I feel like Sushi is the one who's been able to keep that momentum going and still keep up the pace in terms of being on that top side of the kill counts repeatedly. It felt like maybe Mary Chain took a little bit of a back foot today in terms of that pressure, but in general still performing well for the squad.
Yeah, again, it's hard for Mary Chain when he was within his own group. He was definitely eclipsing a lot of other players, but again, he had some good moments for himself. But you are now playing with the cream of the crop as well, so it's definitely certain that you'll see some other players also rise to the top as well, with the likes that we've seen today. Overall, been very fun to watch some of the highest levels of gameplay coming through from Warfare here on Delta Force. From a bird's eye view a lot of times as well. It's not really a lot of times you get this benefit of being able to watch it in this fashion.
Yeah, you get a great sense of just the dynamics that take place during these games, and you can see maybe a little bit what you guys could do at home if you were to check out the game, which you can download for free on Steam, by the way. You can bring some of the intel that you've gathered from these tournaments to know where to strike, to know what sort of plays you need to be making based on the momentum shifts that occur in your games as well. It's always good fun to try and put your best foot forwards. I think in general what we're seeing in terms of if you want to farm points, it's definitely this run and gun strategy, getting those SMGs on board and pulling out all the stops and getting stuck straight into the thick of it as well.
Definitely respect that they brought some snipers for this map too on the attack right at the beginning of the game there. Also, if you didn't know, you know Operation Starfall is close on the horizon, as well as Black Hawk Down, the new game mode being available this month in January. Let's take a look at the stats here for Full Safe, who were our best squad. Again, the team on defense. Crazy getting himself 25 kills, Kaspiy with 37, Landgrab 28, and Canyon with 23. So another good result from Full Safe once again. Hats off to them.
Excellent stuff. 3 of their players on this front page, the top 10. So it's great to see. You can see Sushi there on their side was able to do a lot of work for his squad as well. So we'll see just what was able to be brought to the table in terms of that scoring, though. Look, there are a couple of players from Polska Gurom on that top side as well, and they should be in with a good chance here of sealing the deal.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a lot of the familiar names as well. Sushi once again coming in clutch with most kills at 56. Kaspiy down below him with 41. Logistic Gamer, who we heard back from our interview earlier today, with 39 kills. Really good stuff. And Kaspiy again, we mentioned him, 37 kills, despite being in 4th place on the attack there, who was the losing team.
Most assists goes to Karshim on 78, tied with Mapapa from Meet Your Memers. Of course, we saw what Mapapa was able to do, an excellent anchor throughout the course of the day, and that reads in those assists as well. So great result coming on through for Meet Your Memers. They have May as well featuring on this table on the 5th place.
Yeah, and it sort of makes sense that we see Mapapa there with some of the most assists, considering the fact that the guy is just spraying into the dark sometimes, but he knows roughly where to spray and does get a lot of tags in the process. Versus, once again, from Pakamaka with 45 rescues on side, and he has been firmly the top of the top of medics all day today, which is nice to see. Very friendly player.
He's always got your back, absolutely. Even though with a name like Versus, you might think he's a bit, aggy, a bit ready to get stuck into the fight. But no, he's laid back. He's like, yeah, you know what? You run forwards. I'll pick you back up. It doesn't matter. You put a foot wrong, I've got you, man. I'll put you back on the right path.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He's a good lad indeed. But today has been very, very fun. Sad to see that is our last match. I would have liked to have watched some more Warfare. Let's take a look at those final standings. Who picks up the big money on the prize pool? Who's coming in second? Who's coming in third? And look at that. Full Safe do end up taking 3rd place. Fantastic stuff to them. Polska Gurom, though, will be taking first with 330k points, clearing ahead away of anyone else.
28k point lead. That is an excellent charge in towards the top spot. It is, of course, Group B going on in, and we will see them be crowned the champions. I think that's $3,500 they just earned for their squad as well, which is great news. You can see the points distributed thusly. And in general, it's kind of how we expected it to look, right? Two teams from Group A on that front side, Group B featuring very heavily towards the top of the tables, and we will have to see that further. Of course, you get that 10% points bonus, which means that that's right. 10% points bonus for winning that game, which means that you're winning all 4 games. In general, you just have 10% more points than Group A. So an excellent, and credit to FullSafe, who were actually, if you add 10% to their points tally, they're pretty close to Polska Gurom. I think they're still in 2nd place overall, but if you add that 10% that they would have earned for being on the winning side, FullSafe are nearly there as well.
Yeah, well, you got to remove 10% as well for Polska Gurom. So yeah, FullSafe might have just pulled through if they were able to get a couple more wins on their side. So I think for FullSafe, they're one of our most dominant teams throughout the entirety of the day. No matter the situation, no matter the field, they were pulling through. But it was Polska Gurom in the end with some fantastic plays throughout the entirety of the day here. Followed closely by Rage Mode Esports, who you can't forget, in 2nd place.
No, absolutely not. An excellent result. In general, the point scoring came a lot from the trenches. It was a little bit lower going over towards Shafted as well, which is where FullSafe actually had a lot more points than I think they actually topped the tables on Shafted both times in those scenarios, which is unfortunate because trenches just seem to have so much more value, and having strength there is what Polska Gurom were able to bring to the table. So that's where that's how it goes, you know. You got to be strong every which way if you want to take these top spots.
Yeah, you do. You got to be able to pull out in any kind of situation, and I think that is something that we've seen from quite a few of our teams, where they're able to get in towards those endpoints and still pull through in some of the most dire scenarios. We do have an interview ready with Wojciech joining us here today. How are you doing, dude?
Yeah, hi guys.
Can you just give us a little clarification on the pronunciation of your name? I feel like that's something we've been battling against.
Means Bądź w nosie, guys.
Bądź
You can call me
w
Bądź or Bądź w nosie.
Okay, there we go.
Dziękuję bardzo. Thank you.
Proszę.
I appreciate it. Yeah, today has been awesome for you. I think you've had some serious plays all the way throughout. I think some of your guided missiles were unbelievable over on trench lines. Are you and your team happy to win the tournament so far?
Yeah, it's so a great experience to play like this. It's like a first tournament in Delta Force for the community, so it was really nice to play it. And also we won, so it's great.
Exactly. I mean, that's what's got to feel good. Have you got any idea what you're going to spend your winnings on? Have you got something lined up in the pipeline?
No idea, for real.
Well, hopefully you'll find something good, maybe a new skin potentially in the game, or whatever else you'd quite like, to be honest with you. Throughout those games, you definitely feel... Do you feel like throughout those games, your group had the advantage? I think that's what we saw, is that Group B just seemed a little bit better than the rest.
I think we got this balance also here in semifinals, but we played well. And we joined to the finals, but the final stage was also somehow disbalanced, but it's hard to play normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great stuff from you guys. Is there a part of the games, a play that you made maybe that stands out over the course of today, or do you just think you were playing just super clean and consistent? There wasn't like that big standout moment. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I think every time you can play better, but we played well, so we are so happy that we won.
Absolutely, dude. Well, congratulations on your win. Anything you'd like to say to your fans, friends, family at home who may be watching the stream right now?
Yeah, I can say Polska Gurom, and that's all. Everybody knows what that means.
Over the
Thank
nose.
you.
Over the nose. Thank you so much, dude. Have a great rest of your day. And congratulations on your big win.
Thank you. Bye.
Absolutely. Polska Gurom is a great result for the day and for their entire tournament as well. I know you're pretty jealous of the ink as well. I think that's something you were probably pretty appreciative of.
Yeah.
He's got some
Yeah, he
pretty
definitely has
bold
some
ink
cool
there.
tattoos. Yeah, some cool tattoos. I think it's kind of similar to my one over on this side. Over here, maybe. There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a cool guy. He was definitely a cool guy. Very happy to see him win. Super chilled out as well. I mean, he seemed happy, but still pretty chilled. And I'm sure they'll decide on what he wants to spend that money on later on. But massive congratulations to Polska Gurom. And a special congratulations to Full Safe as well. The fact they were able to pull through despite being on the losing team so many times is very, very impressive. But overall, big thank you to all the players that joined us for this community tournament. And a big thank you to you guys at home for joining us as well to watch through these 4 days of fantastic action here with Delta Force.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for following on for the Europe tournament. There is still a little bit more to come. If you're a fan of the NA region of the Americas, you can stick around because later on today, well, you can go for a little bit. It's still a few hours away, but there is the American side of the community tournament for you guys to enjoy, and you can catch up on that as well on the YouTube channel if you miss it. If you're playing in Europe as well, I know it's on late night for us, so make sure you're checking that out as well. More warfare this evening. We've had operations so far, we've had the warfare side of things, and both of those two tournaments, it feels like everyone has that real passion for the game, which is great stuff, and everyone's just really excited to get stuck into what could be a really solid scene. So I'm happy to have been a part of it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to our production behind the scenes who's been guiding us in our ears the whole time, making sure that we stay sane and in control. So big shout out to them. My name has been John, and it will continue to be, as will Blank. He will continue to be there, and we'll hopefully see you guys in the future. Make sure you keep your ear to the ground so we can get looted and scooted. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Come on. Almost there.
Admit defeat, rookie. Give it to me.
What? How do you think about it? You don't know what you're doing. Give it back.
How dare you look down on me! Give it to me!
Looks like it's my turn.